And tonight we bring you a SWAC matchup between Alabama A&M and Mississippi Valley State. This one should be fun, partner.
Classic offense versus defense matchup. You've got the high-powered, high-octane offense of Mississippi Valley State, and of course you've got the top-rated defensive in the SWAC right here in Huntsville, Alabama.
Couple of first-year head coaches too.
Coaches with tremendous pedigree. You've got Willie Totten, now the head coach at Mississippi Valley. You can make the argument that he was the guy that made Jerry Rice the All-American receiver that he was when he played down there almost 20 years ago. And then, of course, you've got Anthony Jones, who's bling-blinging, wearing a Super Bowl ring from his years with the Washington Redskins, where he teamed with Doug Williams to win the whole thing in 1987. It should be a barn burner, brother.
Mississippi Valley State and Alabama A&M coming up next on MBC.
Catch the games. Catch the game. Play hard, play rough, be strong, be tough, take charge, dig deep, hold on, bring heat. From state to state, from field to court, hoping everybody enjoys the game and feel the sport. Just remember we're fighting to win the game like Denzel, and remember the Titans. Look, take it out on your enemy, cause it gets intense. The crowd cheers and you feel the energy, and the beat is getting me to a point of height in which both teams better be. Play hard, play rough, be strong, be tough, take charge, dig deep, hold on, bring heat. Play hard, play rough, be strong, be tough, take charge, dig deep, hold on, bring heat. Yo, catch the games live on MBC. It's live black college sports, obsessed to bring entertainment aboard. I just hope that you know you dealing with MBC Sports back to back. Make sure that you watch games from the CIAA, MEAC and SWAC. SIAC's got you. But it ain't over till you hear this, or we will rock you. Play hard, play rough, be strong, be tough, take charge, dig deep, hold on, bring heat. Play hard, play rough, be strong, be tough, take charge, dig deep, hold on, bring heat. State to state, from field to court, hoping everybody enjoys the game and feels the sport. Just remember we fought to win the game like HBCU Sports. Look, take it out on your enemy, cause it gets intense. The crowd cheers and you feel the energy, and the beat is getting me to a point of height in which both teams better be. Play hard, play rough, be strong, be tough, take charge, dig deep, hold on, bring heat. Play hard, play rough, be strong, be tough, take charge, dig deep, hold on, bring heat. Play hard, play rough, be strong, be tough, take charge, dig deep, hold on, bring heat. Gotta catch the games live on MBC.
This is an MBC sports presentation.
A&M, they have an excellent running game, and I think they really strive on their defense. They have an excellent defense in Robert Mathis, and really getting to the football and really making things happen. And you know, I think what we're going to have to do is go into this ball game. We're going to have to be able to try to do some things to offset that. I know we're not going to be able to stop them defensively, because they do things so well. So what we're going to try to do is just try to offset some of those things.
You know, we're going to have to play exceptionally well on special teams to provide us with the field position. Defense is going to have to be strong, and we're going to give up a few plays because they're going to throw the ball all over the place.
Huntsville, Alabama, Lewis Crews Stadium on this wonderful Saturday evening, where the Alabama A&M Bulldogs take on the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils in this SWAC matchup. Alabama A&M comes in #1 in the East in the SWAC, while Mississippi Valley State is in last place. Hi everyone, along with my partner Mark Gray, I am Dwayne Ballin. This is a curious position for Alabama A&M and this game.
A very dangerous dangerous game for Alabama A&M. Yeah, they've won 3 in a row, but this game is sandwiched in between a homecoming victory last week that was very emotional over Tennessee State. Next week, they've got their annual matchup in Birmingham in the Magic City Classic against Alabama State. Dangerous game against the Devil that's feeling kind of confident coming in here.
Let's take a look at our NBC ones to watch. We begin with Mississippi Valley State's talented quarterback.
Oh, this is a converted receiver who's the 3rd-rated passer in the conference right now. His name is Casey Weaver. Let me tell you something, folks. This kid is a big-time talent. He's got a great arm to get the ball down the field, and he also makes plays with his leg. He's the most accurate passer in the conference. He's completing 60% of his passes, Dwayne, and the kid is throwing the ball almost 60 times a game.
And for Alabama A&M, someone that Weaver will have to look out for defensively, Robert Mathis, who has 1 gear.
And it's high octane. Let me tell you, this guy runs in 5th gear all game long. He plays on the defensive line. He's got 12.5 sacks this season. This is a kid leading them in sacks. He's leading them in tackles for loss. He is a bona fide NFL prospect who's got the speed to go from sideline to sideline, and he also makes big plays happen in the blitzing game. He is the stopper that Anthony Jones is hoping will shut down Weaver and that high-octane offense.
Well, Willie Totten told us earlier that they're going to throw the ball early and often. It's going to be a lot of fun. Satellite Totten is ready to launch his Delta Devils into orbit. Kickoff is next. Alabama, Mississippi Valley State has won the toss, elected to receive. Mark, this is going to be a very interesting game because Alabama A&M comes in, as you see Anthony Jones there, first-year head coach, #1 in the division. That surprises some people.
Well, he's been able to take advantage of a schedule that some folks in these parts don't think has been as strong. And when you look at it, you can make a statistical argument that the 4 teams he's beaten have combined for 5 wins this season. So, DB, this is the first real test for the Bulldogs.
Rashard Kyler's kickoff into the end zone where Mississippi Valley State will let it sail out of bounds. And the Delta Devils offense, high octane, will come on at the 20-yard line, led by that young man, Kerry Weaver.
Well, Weaver's a big-time converted wide receiver who Willie Totten recruited when he was the assistant coach to play quarterback. He got hurt, broke his collarbone. He played receiver last season, and now he's under center, and he runs the show. You'll see a lot of no huddle. He has the opportunity to check off frequently at the line of scrimmage, and he does like to spread the ball around.
Weaver, #3 in offense in the conference. #1 in completion percentage, #2 in complete passes. He will be throwing to #5, O.J. Moore, to William Smith, #85. First down, he's under pressure, and Weaver goes down.
Desmond Hardy in there on the stop.
Time to take a look at our Office Depot starting lineups. Mississippi Valley State's backs and receivers, Dawson, McPherson. You heard us refer to Moore. You will see him a lot. Smith. The offensive line, led by Big Mario Branch. Ingram, Martin, Baccarini, and Smith. Back to action, loss of 14 on first down on the sack. 2nd and 24.
Let him up, guys. Roll up. Leave it right. We got it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Office Depot defensive look for Alabama A&M. This is the #1 ranked defense in the conference. The line, Hardy, Hassan, Harris, and Mathis, the man you will watch. He will be all over the field. Linebackers are Ware, Travaris Nunn, a converted fullback. Secondary, which some people say has not really been tested. Freeman, Johnson, Turner, and Holtz.
I think they'll be tested this evening before the night is done.
On 3rd down, Kerry Weaver. Opening series of the game. Weaver to the air. Has a receiver along the near sideline. That's Jimmy Davenport. He's stopped by Henry Freeman.
Well, that time they run a little out pattern. Watch the ISO coming up right here. It's a little quick out pattern. Nothing fancy about what's transpiring. He's going to get off, find a soft little area, take it to the sideline. Unfortunately, wasn't far enough for the first down, but that drive was really thwarted, Dwayne, by the 14-yard sack to open up on the first play of the series.
Russell Griffith gets off a kick that is high, rather wobbly. Doesn't go too far. and will give Alabama A&M very nice field position to begin its first offensive series.
Well, I think Nick Wells really wanted to have an opportunity to return that kick, Dwayne. Wells has been sparkling in the last 3 games. I mean, last week it was Wells who set up a touchdown with a long run, but he sets his offense up in great operating position. When your offense doesn't have too many talented players, you want to shrink the field.
Johnny Keith, the starting quarterback, 6'1", 210-pound freshman, 418 yards passing, couple of touchdowns. He is a passer. Anthony Jones utilizes a 2-quarterback system. They open it up on the ground. That's Melvin Gideon. Chris Robinson pushes him out of bounds. Office Depot starting lineups offensively for Alabama A&M. The aforementioned Gideon, Rowland, Lindsay. He needs to have a big game for them. Wells and Wilson.
Gideon leading the team.
Offensive line, Lewis, Nolan, LaCroix, Woodward, and Wilson. Woodward is a converted defensive lineman, as is Nolan. 2nd and 5. Alabama A&M stopping Mississippi Valley State on the opening series. Now the offense takes over. They keep it on the ground. Office Depot starting lineups for the defensive unit of Mississippi Valley State. Derek Lee, Joseph Creer, Williams, and Griffin, the defensive line. Linebackers are Collins, Spencer, and Cedric McDonald. McDonald leads the conference with 69 tacks. The secondary, O'Keefe, Sean Hill, Jermaine Granberry, and Chris Robinson. Jonathan Rowland on that last carry for Alabama A&M. It is now 3rd and 2 at the 34-yard line of Mississippi Valley State for A&M. Gideon over the left side has the first down and more. He's finally wrestled out of bounds by Willie Gator.
Boy, I tell you something. Jonathan Rowland, the fullback, got a great seal block that sprung him around the corner and set it up from the sideline. You're going to see on this little sweep play coming around the near corner here, he's going to get a block that just seals him to the inside. See, look, that's him taking out 2 blockers right there. I think he was able to pick off Chris Robinson, the defensive back, who came up in support. And once Robinson was picked off, that gave him the lane down the sideline to pick up the first down and set up a goal-to-goal situation.
1st and goal from the 9-yard line of Mississippi Valley State. A&M on its opening series. Ball is lost. And Mississippi Valley State's Willie Gator picks it up.
Boy.
Huge turnaround for the Delta Devils.
Well, it's just a bad break for Alabama A&M and a great break for Mississippi Valley State. I mean, he seemingly had a little bit of a hole to run through, and he just lost it.
Alabama A&M right at the door. 1st and goal at the 9-yard line. And Willie Gator comes up with the fumble. Ball now at the 32-yard line for Willie Totten's Delta Devils.
Well, you'll notice that Mississippi Valley is always in attack mode.
TV timeout.
And this time, Willie Gator does the attacking from the defensive side of the football. We know about the attacking mentality of the offense. This time the defense attacks and does a great job.
Mississippi Valley State has an opportunity. We're back after moments of the first quarter. Mississippi Valley State, Alabama A&M, a SWAC East Division matchup. Alabama A&M had the ball at the 9-yard line. 1st and goal moments ago, a fumble. And now Mississippi Valley State, with Lady Luck on its side, has the ball at the 32-yard line of the Bulldogs. 1st and 10, and they're throwing. Weaver looking long. Has the receiver? No, it's ruled incomplete. He was looking for William Smith. It appeared as though he made the catch.
Smith going out there, laying out, tremendous effort, just wasn't able to hold on to the football. Does a great job getting open with a nice move at the line of scrimmage. He had some separation on a beautifully thrown pass by Weaver, just not quite able to connect. But you do have to give a little bit of credit that time in the defensive backfield to Henry Freeman, who was outstanding in coverage.
That brings up 2nd down and 10 for Mississippi Valley State. No score, 11-13 to go here in Huntsville, Alabama. Weaver out of the pocket, is going to run, doesn't get too far.
Leave it late.
Quickly they close on him. Time now to bring in the third member of our announced team in Wande Lawson. Let's check in with her.
Well, I tell you guys, down here from the field, as you mentioned earlier in the open, we're looking at a coaching clash of the Titans. Two coaches meeting each other, both with superior NFL credentials behind them. Of course, we've got Willie Totten in his first year at his alma mater with the backing of veteran receiver Jerry Rice behind him. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Mark, the bling-bling action there behind Anthony Jones at the helm of Alabama A&M. He tells us that when you've got a Super Bowl ring, it gives you credibility. Of course, you have to be able to show something behind that as well. So we're going to see what both coaches can show us this evening.
Here in Wande, Weaver throwing on third down. Ball was short. The closest player to the ball was actually Henry Freeman, defensive back for Alabama A&M.
Well, I'll tell you, Desmond Hardy right now is matched up on Mario Branch, the aforementioned All-American candidate right now, and he's getting the best of Branch right now. Continues to come off the edge right now, and they're putting pressure on Weaver right now, and his timing is just a little off. And when you got a timing-oriented passing attack like Mississippi Valley, a little bit of timing, you nudge it off just a little bit, it's going to disrupt the pass routes. They were just a little bit off in that series.
Russell Griffith on the punt. Nicholas Wells is waiting at his 26-yard line. Breaks a couple of tackles down the near sideline, has a block or two, cuts it back upfield where he's finally corralled. Nice return for Wells out to the 47-yard line.
That Nick Wells is a factor in special teams. He had 178 total yards of returning last week.
Horizon keys to winning.
Well, when you look at the keys to winning in this particular contest for Mississippi Valley, they've got to make some big plays. You got an opportunity to make something happen deep downfield by stretching a shaky secondary. And then, of course, you got to start quickly. If you get a chance to put points on the board, you need to take it to the house. And then, of course, force long third down situations. Alabama A&M is only converting 33% of their third down situations. You figure if you force them third and long, you got a good chance of getting the ball back.
Johnny Keats still in at quarterback for A&M. Great read defensively. Willie Gator, who's been all over the place early on, makes a perfect read.
Guess that means the running back is Gator bait in this particular instance, huh?
Something like that.
He played right off the block, shot the gap, and it's a 5-yard loss. And offense is sputtering just a little bit. You know, both teams doing a good job with their run blitzes right now, and it's really disrupting the continuity of the rushing attack.
Look at Gator there. 5'9", 194-pound senior. Keith now to the air, has a receiver, Nicholas Wells, along the far sideline. O'Keefe Henderson on the tackle.
Tim Wells, nice, safe, quarterback-friendly route. That pass seemed to take a month of Sundays to get out there, but it was a strike right on line. He just breaks it off, 3 yards, hauls it in, and it'll bring up a third and short situation. I thought he might have gotten the first down there. It'll be third and about a half an inch. That's a safe pass. You know, you don't have, Coach Jones told us, he doesn't have the kind of talent on the offensive side of the ball last night. Put him in positions to make plays. 3rd and 10. Keith looking to throw, trying to get something going, has a receiver.
Great catch by Wells across the middle. Defensively, Sean Hill was there to stop him. But Wells has to have a big game. That's what Coach Jones told us, for them to be successful. He's the big play guy.
Well, he is the big play guy, and he's been making big plays over the last 3 weeks. And this is just another one of those safe passes. Put him in the shotgun, let him read. He's going to do a good job looking off the safety, and a nice climb the ladder catch for Wells that I think is going to come back because there was a flag on the play.
All of it for naught. There was a penalty flag on the field.
Holding, offense, 10 yards from previous spot, repeat third down.
So that makes it 3rd and 20. You hear from our referee Lawson Turner, umpires Mike Tolzman, John Bassey, Frank LeBlanc, Greg Marshall, Tom Sewitt, and Greg Edwards make up the rest of the officiating crew for tonight's game. So now, Alabama A&M's offense, we knew from what Coach Jones told us that this would be a problem getting going early. Here they are, 3rd and 20.
And they had gotten the first down on the previous play.
At their own 45-yard line, out of the shotgun is Johnny Keith, the true freshman. Low snap, but he gets it. He's under pressure. Gets it away, throwing it out of bounds. Mississippi Valley State's defensive unit is coming hard and fast.
Well, we figured coming into this contest that Alabama A&M's defense would be the one that would be aggressive, blitzing from a number of areas. This time, watch the blitz come from the near side, and look at that pursuit right now. Damian Collins forces him out of the pocket, and there was nobody open downfield.
Wise choice by Keith, all things considered. That brings on Rashad Kyler to punt away. Fred Aiken is back to receive the punt. A high kick by Kyler. Aiken really got very little nice coverage by the Alabama A&M special teams unit. Mississippi Valley State will get the ball inside the 15-yard line.
Well, A&M right now is doing a good job at shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, you had a golden scoring opportunity on their first drive, and they fumble the football inside the 10-yard line. You pick up a first down, and you have a holding call, and then you ultimately have to give the ball up.
42-yard punt gives Mississippi Valley State the ball when we come back. Track, it is scoreless here in Huntsville, Alabama, between his Bulldogs and the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils in the first quarter. Silver Dollar, Riverfront, Gulf Coast, and the Battle of the Bay. MBC Network is broadcasting the best college classics from the CIAA, MEAC, SWAC, and SIAC conferences. On November 30th, we're going to feature the best of this season's classic games on MBC Network. Go online at www.mbcnetwork.com to cast your vote for your favorite Black College Football Classic. Classic Cashers on NBC Network Saturday, November 30th. On first down, Mississippi Valley State. Incomplete pass. The Delta Devils are also having problems getting on track against this #1 ranked defense in the conference.
Well, the pressure up front, the penetration, it is not allowing Weaver an opportunity to set up and read the pass routes. I think what Coach Totten is probably going to have to do right now, shorten the quarterback's drops, look for short intermediate routes across the middle to try to loosen them up right now. But again, unless the big nasties up front are starting to protect him, it's going to be a long night.
Robert Mathis deflected that last pass by Kerry Weaver. Weaver out of the shotgun on 2nd and 10 from his 14-yard line. Elects to run, has room up the middle, probably surprising the Bulldog defensive unit that he would do that, and he picks up the first down. That's not the way we expected Mississippi Valley State to move the chains.
Well, he takes advantage of a formation which took all of the containment from the center of the field to the far side. And you're going to see the lane right up the middle there. And he just scoots into the secondary and picks up good yardage for the first down.
20-yard pickup by Weaver. Jamal Ware finally got to him. That gives Mississippi Valley's offensive unit a bit of breathing room from the 34-yard line. Weaver as a receiver.
That may have been a fumble.
Kendrick Wade had it momentarily.
It was.
And the officials ruled that it was a fumble. Recovered by Martell Holt of Alabama A&M. So the Bulldogs defensive unit, which forces plays and is aggressive, does its job there.
Well, that's just a classic case where Coach told us his receivers have got to step up and they've got to hold on the football. And here, he just dropped it. I mean, he had it in his possession for a second. Hardy does a good job putting a stick on him, but he just dropped that football.
You are so right, partner. We just saw a number of things we spoke with coaches about. Totten told us his receivers have to catch the ball, hang on to it, and Holt told us his defense is offensive. It forces turnovers. They are #1 in the conference in that category. From the 31-yard line to the air, man wide open, 6 points, Alabama A&M.
Well, that's how you cross them up.
Jacob Wilson.
Everybody expecting run, you fake, go over the top, and you score the 6.
31-yard scoring strike from Keith to the tight end, Wilson. Wilson is a great story because this time last year, Mark, he played a really different role in this matchup.
Tremendous kid. This is a kid last season who was a quarterback in this contest, and in the 2001 win, he was a quarterback that passed for 136 yards couple of touchdowns, played a big game. Now he's catching passes.
He ran for 139 yards.
Offense, 5 yard. So first.
Infraction called against Alabama A&M, so we will kick the point after again. But Jacob Wilson, wow, this time in this game last year, he was the starting quarterback, converts to tight end, and comes through big. Rashad Kyler now on, and he's had problems this season. Kickoffs, on field goals, on point afters. This time he is good, and it is 7-0. Alabama A&M takes the lead in the first quarter here in Huntsville over Mississippi Valley State.
Well, you couldn't have drawn it up any better for Anthony Jones other than your fumble inside the 10-yard line earlier in the contest. By all rights, they should be up by 2 scores right now. You put the burden of proof on your defense.
7:19 left in the first quarter, and the Bulldogs are roaring, leading 7-0. Tonight's game is brought to you by the Verizon Reads program. Marshall Space Flight Center here in Huntsville. Alabama A&M leads Mississippi Valley State 7-0, and this is how they did it, Mark.
Creative offensive play calling that time. You're going to see the quarterback, Keith, just set in the pocket, little 3-step drop. His receiver gets a good break off the line of scrimmage, and he's into the secondary. And roughly 20 yards later, he takes it to the house for the touchdown. And Alabama A&M, after a rocky start, has something to cheer about.
Rashad Kyler set to kick off. You see the scoring drive caught by the erstwhile quarterback, the MBC scoring drive.
One play, 31 yards, and the touch.
Kickoff will be a touchback in the end zone by Sean Hill. So Mississippi Valley State will take over at the 20-yard line. Delta Devils actually are rather fortunate, Mark, because they could be down 14-0.
Well, they should be. It was 1st and goal at the 9-yard line. A&M fumbles, but I'm just struck by what Coach Totten told us before the game. His receivers have got to hold on to the football, and the 7 points is a direct result of a receiver putting the ball on the turf, and that puts Mr. Weaver in a position to have to come back, but I think he has no problem with that.
1st and 10 for Weaver and the Delta Devils offense at the 20-yard line. They trail at 7-0. Elect to keep it on the ground. Jeremy Collins on the tackle.
Well, that's just something you're not going to do if statistics are any indication. This is the number 3 rated rush defense in the SWAC. They're only giving up 110 yards a game, and that's good for 24th in the nation. So they're going to have to loosen them up with the short passing game if they want to be effective running the football, in my opinion.
Courtney Smith, a pickup of just 1, so it's 2nd and 9 at the 21-yard line. Weaver appears to be changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Coach Totten told us that he does have permission to do that. Going up top. Receiver has it. That's Jimmy Davenport. Good enough for a 1st down, and that's the way Mississippi Valley State normally moves the 1st down marker.
That's just your basic post corner route, and you run to the post, you break it hard to the sideline, which in this case is your corner, and you pick up the 1st down.
24-yard pickup for the 6'2 junior from Greenville, Mississippi.
Nice footwork that time and a great pass. A timing route. Quarterback and receiver, when they have time, they can convert those timing routes.
Be still now.
1st and 10 from the 45 for Mississippi Valley State. We're in Huntsville, Alabama. Here comes pressure, and down goes Weaver. Guess who? Robert Mathis, who leads the conference with 12.5 sacks coming in. That sack is a new personal best for him for a season. He has 13.5 sacks now.
Well, he's just coming, and again, it's a matchup. They're having problems on the far side of the field, and he just beats the blocker to get to the quarterback. I mean, it's not like he ran any kind of fancy stunt. They're just beating him at the point of attack. They're quicker off the ball right now. You got the classic case of size versus speed. Speed wins that battle.
Loss of 7 brings up 2nd and 17 for Mississippi Valley State. Here come the Bulldogs, pressure again, and this time it's Mathis figuring again. He gets up and knocks away a pass.
And again, it's the quickness. Once again, he's just too quick for the big offensive linemen of the Delta Devils. I mean, they're averaging about 320 20 pounds across that offensive line are the Devils, but they're getting out quick right now.
Mathis is just tremendous. 6'2", 235-pound senior, has his all heart.
That was more like a basketball protection. He just blocked that shot.
Coach Jones told us he wishes he had quite a few more like him and had him for a few more years. Some say he should be a Buchanan Award finalist. 3rd and 17 on a 7-yard loss from 2 plays earlier. The subsequent batted down ball by Mathis, and the Mississippi Valley State offense is in trouble. Weaver completes a pass to Clifford Carter.
Well, that was a safe route. I think that's the kind of play you call on first down against the defensive front, because they've done nothing right now to confuse the defensive front of Alabama A&M. So when you try to run the little screen action underneath, you got guys that are staying at home, and it's going to thwart the attempt at that play.
4th down, Russell Griffith on the punt. Nicholas Wells is back, and there are flags and whistles flying and being blown down on the field.
Dead ball, false start, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Things simply are not going right for Mississippi Valley State at the moment.
Certainly out of sync. And you just wonder whether or not they have shaken off the disappointment of last week's gut-wrenching loss at Southern right now. And sometimes you can have that emotional residue from a previous game that you bring into a contest, and maybe they just haven't shaken it off yet.
Nick Wells, a very dangerous return man. You see him set back last week in their victory. He had a 48-yard return that set up a touchdown. He also had a 64-yard kickoff return that set up a touchdown. So he's a very dangerous man when he fields a punt or a kickoff. Russell Griffin to punt away to him.
Oh, he should have let that one hit.
Wells is fortunate that ball ended up out of bounds. A mental mistake by Nick Wells, and he knows it.
Yeah, that's my bad. And it's a lot easier to say my bad when you don't cost your team the ball.
And there is another flag on the play.
Mississippi Valley, once again, I think they're going to be called for a face mask.
The flag is back around the area where the offensive line and the punter were. Alabama A&M comes into this contest 4-2 overall, 2-0 in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. First place in the SWAC East. Mississippi Valley State comes in 2-4 overall, 0-2 in the conference, and in last place in the division.
An offensive pass in a face mask against the kicking team would be 15 yards, still 4th down.
When it goes bad, it really goes bad, and that's happening for the Delta Devils right now. Our Verizon keys to winning for Alabama A&M.
Well, apparently they haven't overlooked the Devils. You know, we talked in the open about how dangerous this was, sandwiched between homecoming and the Magic City Classic. To this point, they've done a good job of containing Kerry Weaver, and they've got to convert their field goals. This is a team that's only made 2 of 6 field goal attempts, and they're like 1 for 3 inside 20 to 29 yards.
Griffin gets it away to a waiting Wells. This time he wants to fair catch it. Very smart move at the 45-yard line of Alabama A&M, where the Bulldogs offense will have very favorable ball position. And there's a man, Robert Mathis, who's a tremendous talent.
You talk about a guy who has one gear. Early in the contest, well, when we were shooting him earlier in the game, he had the scowl on his face. He came to the ballpark with his game face on. That's the most smile we've seen out of that guy all game, all day. See, look at it. He's happy about things right now. It's amazing how you smile after you've been going head up against big nasties on the old front and you got a few sacks. There were no smiles before the game.
He's a bit undersized for someone that plays up front at 6'2", but boy, is he oversized when it comes to effort and talent. So quick off the line.
He is really quick.
And he's just a problem for any offensive lineman.
Holding on the return team, 10 yards from the end of the kick, first down.
So all of a sudden now, both teams are having problems with fundamentals.
Comedy of errors, would you say?
Lawson Turner may be the MC for the evening before it's over with the way it's going. Our referee, part of our fine officiating crew here tonight. In one-day Lawson, Mark Gray, Dwayne Ballin with you from Huntsville, Alabama. First and 10 from the 35-yard line of A&M for the Bulldogs, who lead at 7-0. They keep it on the ground. Jonathan Rowland powering his way ahead, a pickup of maybe 3-yard line, or 3 yards before he's closed down.
Well, there's nothing fancy about what they're doing. Rowland just, this is what I call gut football. You check your guts, you go head up through the gut of the defense, and you pick up good yardage. This is a ball control offense that Anthony Jones wants to run. He says it's a ball controlling offense that has built-in big plays. They got the big play earlier, go right back to the ground game.
Pickup of 5 on the play officially. Pickup of 1, rather. 2nd and 9. Keith to the air, has time to throw. Actually, there were 2 receivers out there. Nick Wells very nearly came up with it.
Yeah, but he was also joined in that area by Neil Lindsay. And see, you got a problem. You got a post route run by 2 guys, which brings 3 defenders into an area where you got 2 receivers. That's a recipe for a disaster. Fortunate that this play wasn't picked off. You're going to see it's a post. They're coming right to the center of the field. And that's a pretty good...
Who precisely was that intended for?
One of the guys in the maroon.
Wells came into this game, 188 yards, 1 touchdown. He's a big play guy. On 3rd down, Keith under pressure and throws it away.
That was great pressure that time. Boy, you talk about some good interior pressure coming from Chris Smith, the 230-pound linebacker from Greenwood, Mississippi. He just beat the blocking and was able to get back there and just disrupt the entire continuity of that play. And Keith looks like he's slightly gimpy coming off the field.
So intentional grounding apparently called on Keith. And Anthony Jones told us he will utilize a 2-quarterback system. He will bring Keith out and bring in Robinson at times.
But intentionally grounding, it's a spot foul, 4th down.
That will bring on the punting unit for Alabama A&M as both teams continue to have problems with basic fundamentals in this first quarter. It's 7-0, A&M leading Mississippi Valley State.
Well, maybe Mr. Turner, the referee, knew that it was an MBC game and he's just working for airtime.
Fred Aiken is back to receive the punt of Kyler. Aiken is at his own 27-yard line. Calls for a fair catch, gets it, and the Delta Devils will have the ball at their own 35-yard line. Down by 7 with 3:39 to go here in the first quarter at Louis Cruz Stadium in Huntsville, Alabama.
But with the way they throw the football, they are 1 pass play away at any given time. And while Alabama A&M has the lead, they haven't done a good job of taking advantage of their prosperity. So when you've got Weaver at the helm, just 1 play away from knotting this thing up.
Willie Totten's Delta Devils coming off loss last week to Southern. 1st and 10 for Weaver and crew. To the air, no surprise. Looking for Jimmy Davenport. He did not hang on to it. Nice defensive work for Alabama A&M.
But again, this is a great pass. It's a post route. The receiver again finds the soft area in the zone. The quarterback gets it to him, and he is not there. He's just not able to hold on to it.
Our MBC Student Athletes of the Week, you are watching him right now. Kerry Weaver, the senior quarterback. Look at that grade point average in health, physical education, and recreation. On 2nd and 10, Mr. Weaver trying to get away from the defensive pressure, will run out of bounds. He's using that brain of his.
Boy, I tell you something. Bronski Towns, the defensive coordinator, said that he had to spy on Weaver to make sure he doesn't get away from the blitz. He was more worried about his damage improvising outside the pocket. And watch, they do a good job. Once he breaks containment there, you've got 3 or 4 other shirts in hot pursuit, staying in their lanes to force them out of bounds. Good disciplined defensive attack that time by A&M.
Fernandez Shaw was determined to get to him, didn't quite get there. That brings up 3rd and 8 from the 37-yard line of Mississippi Valley State. Delta Devils trailing at 7-0. Weaver again under pressure, trying to get away but cannot. He is brought down quickly, wrapped up by Lieutenant Dukes.
Tan Hut.
You've been waiting for me to say his name just so you could do that.
That's a great name and a great play that time when you can track down a converted receiver from the backside from your defensive line position, and that shows you the quickness that A&M has up front. Look at the pursuits. Going to come clean from this side of the field, and he thought he could get around the corner. Dukes wasn't having it.
6'3", 200-pound freshman from Birmingham comes up with a big defensive play. Russell Griffin kicking away to Nicholas Wells. Ball is out of bounds just outside the 40-yard line of Alabama A&M, which is where the Bulldogs, who lead at 7-0, will take over. Along with Nwande Lawson, Mark Gray, this is Dwayne Ballin, and Willie Totten's Delta Devils are already markedly better than they were this time last year.
Certainly, there's a different attitude and an atmosphere at Mississippi Valley right now. You know, they've got confidence. They truly believe in their coach. I'm not quite sure, talking to the players that we talked to during the course of our time here, that they were confident in the previous regime. And Coach Totten has the pedigree, he's got a lineage, and he also has the ability to communicate belief. And it's so important when you're inheriting a program that has been struggling to make the kids believe in you.
His defense has to do some work. Alabama A&M on first down. Keith rolling out. Has a receiver. It's Nick Wells. He has a first down before he's brought down by O'Keefe Henderson.
Well, that Wells beginning to slowly make plays. You know, during the first 3 games of the season, he caught 2 balls. He's caught 11 over the last 3 weeks. And this is just another guy doing a good job finding the soft area in the zone to pick up 13 yards and a big first down.
What did Anthony Jones tell us yesterday when we chatted with him? Nick Wells has to come through for us.
And he's coming through in a major way to this point.
Ball at the 46-yard line. A&M leading by 7, looking for more, looking long. Wells battling with O'Keefe Henderson. There was some contact, but apparently all within the parameters of fair play.
Well, and it didn't break any rules either. It was just an uncatchable ball, you know, and simply put, the receiver had a step on him. The quarterback puts a little bit too much air up under it, and it goes out of bounds. Now, we saw a questionable play like that go against the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday, but the officials here, I think, got it right.
That brings up 2nd and 10 for Alabama A&M. Johnny Keith, one of the 2 quarterbacks that Anthony Jones uses. Keith, a true freshman, he starts. He is the passer. Timothy Robinson, the other one you'll probably see later, is a runner. Keith looking to go to the air again. Drops off for a safety valve to Jeremiah Bonds, who battled his way to the 39-yard line. That's a bit of power running after he got the reception.
It certainly was. He earned that 4 or 5 yards that he got.
And I think DeMarcus Hill felt the contact on the tackle.
But I like the mix of pass plays that Anthony Jones is calling. He went deep. Now he comes back with a short screen pass. Trouble is, there weren't a whole lot of blockers out there in front of Mr. Bond, and it allows the pursuit to force him out of bounds. But here we go, 3rd and long situation, which is where A&M has been struggling all season to convert.
5-yard pickup on that play. 41-yard line on 3rd and 5. In and out of the hands of the intended receiver.
Courtney Young, converted cornerback.
Courtney Young simply might have been surprised the ball was there. There was a lot of velocity on it.
And it was a little high. But again, you know, quarterbacks will tell you if they can get the ball to the receiver's hands, the receiver should catch it.
Well, if you're Willie Totten right now, you're getting opportunities to stay in this game. Kyler on to punt away to Fred Aiken. Aiken back at his 10-yard line. Kyler just shy of his 45. That will roll out of bounds. Pretty good punt for A&M. That's going to give Mississippi Valley State a lot of real estate to negotiate.
Coach Jones told us yesterday he wanted to shrink the field for Mississippi Valley with his special teams, and he wanted to lengthen the field. Well, let's go down to the field and then Wandy Lawson.
Willie Todd, of course, is a legendary figure at Mississippi Valley State. Known as Satellite, that nickname came when he played there, and boy, did he put some numbers up when he was a player there. His Delta Devils take over on offense. 1st and 10 at the 7-yard line. They are 93 yards away from a touchdown that would tie things up. There was a flag on the play. It's funny, one of the records we were talking to Coach Totten about was the fact that he passed for over 13,000 yards in his
Dead ball, both sides, offense, at the distance, still first down.
More mistakes for Mississippi Valley State, but look at the numbers, Marcus. This man amassed as a quarterback. Of course, as we know, Jerry Rice on the receiving end of a number of those passes.
It's amazing. 141 TD passes in 4 years. That's overwhelming to me of all the stats. Now, 13,128 yards. I mean, if they were frequent flyer miles, he'd be ready to take that long needed vacation to Hawaii.
I think he could go to Australia, actually, if he wanted to.
Yeah.
He set himself 50 records when he was at Mississippi Valley State alone, just him.
And he and Jerry Rice combined for 75 as a tandem, and I think at least 50 of the records that they combined for still stand some 20 years later.
It wasn't until recently that Steve McNair, now the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, broke a few of his records a few years ago. His Delta Devils trying to keep it on the ground, but Robert Mathis is beginning to cause problems for them. The all-conference defensive lineman, number 55. Perfect read as he stops Brandon Dawson over the left side.
He plays a lot like an outside linebacker, and they're aggressive in blitz coverages with him, and he is just wreaking havoc right now. I think he might have taken a shot, might have poked in the eye there.
There's a guy, you know, if he comes out, something really is amiss. 3rd and 8 from the 7-yard line for Mississippi Valley State. 24 seconds left to go in the first quarter here in Huntsville, Alabama. Weaver just had to get that one away. It was in the general vicinity of Jimmy Davenport, but
another part of that three-headed monster on defense, Jamal Ware, the linebacker, with pressure that time, disrupting him. So I guess he figures, well, look, if the number 1 sacker in the conference, who's my teammate, is off the field, that means I can get one, and he just missed.
Alabama A&M's offensive unit discussing matters. They certainly haven't gelled early on. They've done enough, though, to get a 7-point lead. Griffin out of his on-end zone, kicking away. Pretty good kick. And it's Wells. This man is dangerous in the open field, but it will not happen this time, because Sean Hill had a bead on him and knew where he was.
This is where the A&M offense, especially up front, has to start asserting themselves on the ground. I think they've fallen in love a little bit too much with the passing attack. You know, a little bit of ball control here. Keep that high-powered offense off the field. It's a shorter field now. Run the football, try to get it into the end zone, and then you can become more aggressive. Then you put the burden squarely on the defense right now.
Coach Totten has the field a little fortunate, although he's probably disappointed with the way his team is executed. But the fact is, he's only down by 7 to Anthony Jones's Bulldogs.
He's one big play away.
1st and 10 for Alabama A&M from its own 45-yard line. Jeremiah Bonds in motion. That's a dangerous and gutsy pass rolled into 1, intended for the tight end Jacob Wilson. But you have to remember that Damian Collins was right there defensively.
Those are your adjectives, and I'll defer to you, oh great one. I've got another adjective we'll use to describe that pass when we come back.
Mississippi Valley State down by 7. This game is brought to you in part by Office Depot. What you need to know. Alabama A&M's cheerleaders very happy at the moment. Their Bulldogs lead at 7-0 as we begin the second quarter here in Huntsville, Alabama.
And the adjective I was going to use to describe that last pass by Johnny Keith was insane. I mean, it made absolutely no sense throwing in the double coverage. You know, that's when you got unfortunate it wasn't picked off.
Keith has completed 4 of 9 for 54 yards so far. This time it's on the ground, powering his way up the middle.
This is a magnificent mix of offensive play calling right now by Anthony Jones. I mean, he went air bulldog in the first half, and now he appears to be going right behind his big sitter, Granville Lacroix and Jonathan Woodard, and they're getting surged at the point of attack.
Antonio Wallace, pickup of 6 yards on that, sets up 3rd and 4. Christopher Gunn, who was in motion, was a little too anxious to get upfield, and he's going to pay the penalty, as will his teammates.
Dead ball, false start, offense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Number 12 was in motion and simply turned upfield too soon.
This time the early bird does not get the worm.
No, he gets a yellow flag and loses yardage. Penalties have been a factor in this game. A&M 5 for 40, Mississippi Valley State 3 for 23 yards. 3rd and 9 from the 34-yard line. Keith rolling to his left. That ball is out of bounds. He was looking for Neil Lindsay, but O'Keefe and Henderson was there defensively.
Yeah, one receiver in the secondary going against 3 defensive backs, and the prospects for a completion, not good.
Are we getting to the point where we may see Coach Jones go to a different quarterback?
I think he's just, you know something, I think he's using the passing attack as the jab to go for the knockout with the run in a little while.
Fred Aiken back at his own 10-yard line to receive the punt of Kyler.
This would be a good time for a fake if he has one in the package.
High kick will go away from Aiken. There will be no return. Go out of bounds just outside the 10-yard line. That's where Mississippi Valley State will take over. Delta Devils trailing at 7-0.
The offense for Alabama A&M has kept Mississippi Valley in the game.
32-yard punt puts the ball at the 12-yard line for Mississippi Valley State. Delta Devils have the ball when we come back. This offensive unit in Alabama A&M trying to figure some things out after getting an early touchdown in this first quarter. They really have been stagnant, Mark.
Well, I think they need to revisit the running game. When they had the success on their first drive, they were able to run some trap plays to the outside, create some situations where they picked up big yardage.
Mississippi Valley State on 1st and 10. Keep it on the ground, not too much going there.
I'm shocked that we've seen Mississippi Valley run the football as much as we have today.
Well, we asked Coach Totten about that, whether or not he would consider abandoning his pass-happy style and philosophy. And he did tell us that, you know, if it dictates it, we will do that.
I think the short passes are there.
Weaver, who's 4 of 10 for 39 yards on 2nd and long. They keep it on the ground again. And it's Brandon Dawson once again barreling up the middle where he's met by Jamal Ware, among others. This is certainly not Delta Devil type offensive numbers we're used to seeing so far.
Certainly not the Delta Devils we were expecting to see in this contest. I figured they were going to spread out 5 wide, you know, play a little pitch and catch.
But the men in maroon have something to do with what they're doing on offense. The #1 ranked defense in the conference. 3rd and 4, and Dawson is tripped up by Travaris Nunn as he tried to get going up the middle.
Well, that's the first time that we've called his name, but there's a three-headed monster, if you will. If you've got two heads on offense, you've got three on defense, and Mathis, Ware, and Nunn. And Coach told us yesterday, when he issues a challenge for somebody to step up and make a play, it's normally Mathis, Ware, or Nunn.
Russell Griffith on to kick it away for Mississippi Valley State from his 5-yard line. Nick Wells is out right now. Courtney Young on the return. So Alabama A&M will get the ball back when we return. They lead at 7-0. Mississippi Valley State trailing 7-0 as Willie Satellite Totten tries to figure out a way to get it going this evening. Let's check in with Nwande Lawson.
Well, guys, as you look behind me here on the field, perhaps only a few minutes into the second quarter, it may look like the turf is taking a beating there, but that is by design. They tell me here that they are using the golf course model of the tee boxes on golf courses, and therefore they've used an 8-inch layer of gravel and sand. And I understand that in the 1 year that they've been designing the field like this, they have avoided any injuries. So it may look a little bit ugly, but it is by design.
A bit of trickery by A&M in Nwande, and it is Lindsay to Wells on the receiver's touchdown pass. Alabama A&M pulling out all the stops.
Well, when you got a chance to put a team down, you go for the jugular. He'd been flirting all evening with the passing game, and this time he goes to a little trickery. Looked like it was going to be a flanker screen, which allowed Wells to get downfield, and he takes it home. It's a great play. Pass goes outside to Lindsey. Lindsey just looks deep downfield, and he finds a wide open Wells who's just out there playing center field, waiting for the ball to get to him. And he knows what to do when he takes it into the house.
And the point after is no good. But Wells comes up with a big play. 47 yards. As Alabama A&M uses both receivers, that's efficiency on a scoring play.
How about that? Quarterback doesn't get credit for the touchdown pass. His receiver gets it.
Now the Bulldogs are up 13-0 here in the second quarter from Huntsville, Alabama. Lewis Cruz Stadium. Wells takes a well-deserved break.
Much like a pitcher who's pitching with a one-run lead, it's a lot easier for you to go out and play a more aggressive style of defense when you've got a 2-touchdown lead. And if you think they've been playing, now watch, it's just set up here. Quick out, right to Lindsey, who has a chance to set up. You know, all the pressure bought the screen look, which allowed Wells to get into the secondary. Behind the secondary is more apropos, and he takes it into the end zone for the score.
So those two sit there as you take a look at our A&M scoring drive, and they're just talking about how great they are.
Of course. Got to feel good when you got the 47-yard touchdown. You have to feel good by yourself.
Now you get everyone to come over, pat you on the head, talk about how great you are. You did well. Now it's time to play ball again. Mississippi Valley State. Sean Hill runs into a lot of maroon uniforms as he tries to get going up to the far sideline.
Well, Valley is in a bit of trouble right now. They've done absolutely nothing offensively. You've got a spirited Alabama A&M team playing with a lot of emotion right now. And the fact that they're the #1 rated team in the conference, you know you can just go ahead and let guys like Mathis and Ware and Nunn play as aggressive as they want to play right now.
You saw John Garrett running off the field, number 49 for Alabama A&M, appeared to be favoring his right arm. We hope that is nothing serious. So Mississippi Valley State now takes over 90 yards away from getting on the board, trailing by 13. Kerry Weaver unable to really get on track so far. Going deep and overthrows his receiver considerably.
Well, the receiver broke the pass route off shorter than I think he thought Weaver was going to be looking for. Lindsey ran a sharp post pattern about 20 yards and in. If he goes 30 yards and in, he has a better chance of connecting with that one. Hard ironic is this? We come to Huntsville, known as Spacetown, USA, and the satellite is not up. It's just not working right now.
Not so far. Excellent tracking system on the part of A&M. 2nd and 10. Weaver and the Delta Devils need to get it going offensively. As a receiver, open along the far near sideline, but did Kendrick Wade have it?
Yes, he did.
Officials say he did.
That was a beautiful catch. I mean, he runs a nice route, the same route that they were able to pick up a first down on earlier. Another one of those post corner routes. And he does a good job of hauling it in and getting both feet down. Picks up the first down.
Wade, 6'3", 210-pound junior from Cleveland, Mississippi. That sets up a first down. Weaver, time to throw, looking long. Well, for a moment, he had Jimmy Davenport, but across the field streaking was Levernante Turner, who made the defensive play.
Well, let's take a look at the defensive pressure that A&M has been getting on Mississippi Valley all game long. There you see Mathis coming in with a sack, and then from the backside, you got Nunn tracking him down. So as you can see, they've been aggressive coming up the middle and from the outside all game long.
2nd and 10 for Mississippi Valley State. Out of the shotgun is Kerry Weaver. Stepping up. Good coverage by A&M downfield. The A&M defense is showing us this evening why it is #1 in the conference.
I think right now Mississippi Valley is clearly going to have to shorten their routes. They're going to have to take some quick stuff, you know, 3-step cross the middle type of plays, because A, the defensive backfield of Alabama A&M, a maligned defensive backfield, is doing a good job in coverage, and they're not having to cover that long because of the pressure from the many areas that Bronski Towns' defense is coming from.
Curious bit of information here. Mississippi Valley State is yet to convert on 3rd down in this game. 3rd and 10 from its own 29-yard line. Weaver will go down.
It's just relentless, the pressure that they're getting right now.
Gerald Harris closes quickly.
And that's just another one coming in. Boy, Bronski Town's defensive game plan has been absolutely flawless. And it has a lot to do with his front seven being very aggressive. And you know, you've got a number of different guys who are being aggressive. You know, you've got Nunn, Ware.
Russell Griffith's punt very nearly blocked. It will skip around, remain in bounds, and will settle at the 35-yard line of Mississippi Valley State, which is where the Delta Devils will take over. They trail at 13-0, which is where A&M will get the ball. We'll be back to Huntsville after these messages. Leading Mississippi Valley State 13-0. Yeah, we see you, big guy. You guys are doing the job so far. Bulldogs in first place in the East in the SWAC, and everybody's playing their tune at the moment.
Yeah, they're singing the same old song. Get after Weaver on defense, and there's Mr. Devil.
Devil made a trip.
That's right.
From Itabena.
Do you know he got married at homecoming?
The Devil did.
The Devil has a wife.
Hope it wasn't a shotgun wedding.
But you know he left his wife home.
Or would that be a pitchfork wedding?
The Devil came up. Does that mean he's going to get into some devil mint this weekend?
Well, he certainly isn't deviling the Bulldogs at the moment. They lead at 13-0. 1st and 10 from Lewis Crew Stadium. A&M with the ball. I like to keep it on the ground. Jonathan Rowland powering his way up the middle.
Yeah, he didn't go that far. That time they just stood up.
Well, you know, when you're 5'7" and 219, that low center of gravity can shift bodies.
Well, Granville-LaCroix at a rather undersized center at 6'2", 238, basically got stood up at the point of attack. I think that was Damian Williams, who plays a bit of a nose tackle for Mississippi Valley, and he wasn't moving.
Pickup of 3 sets up 2nd and 7 for the Bulldogs. Keith still in at quarterback. rolling out under a bit of pressure, gets it away, very long. And Neil Lindsay nearly comes up with the catch defensively. Chris Robinson was step for step with it.
And he got his hand up at the very last moment, got his hand in position to make the deflection. It's a wide open, he looked like he was open for a minute, but I'm really impressed with the line play of A&M right now. I mean, he rolled to the far side, they sealed everybody back to the near side, and this offensive line, which has given up the fewest sacks in the SWAC this season, only 6 coming in, has been outstanding to this point.
Named Lewis, Nolan, LaCroix, Woodward, and Wilson are the fellows up front protecting Keith. Doing a great job so far. 9:20 to go in the second quarter here from Huntsville. Out of the shotgun, Keith. Hands off to Roland, but Willie Gator wasn't fooled and hasn't been so far this evening.
Yeah, Willie Gator has been omnipresent all day. And he almost a few minutes ago had a touchdown, but here he just beats his block, gets into the backfield, and stops rolling for no gain. Actually a loss.
That will bring in Rashad Kyler to punt away to Fred Aiken. Aiken back at his own 27-yard line. Low kick for Kyler. Will not be fielded, out of bounds at the 35-yard line. So Mississippi Valley State will take control at the 35-yard line. You see Rashad Kyler, the punter. He is also our MBC Student Athlete of the Week for Alabama A&M. Look at that GPA, Mark. I'm sure you probably never saw that near your name, at least not those numbers.
I saw 37 near my name, but that was normally my test scores.
But an impressive young man, and he's getting a talking to right now from his coach.
Even more impressive, however, is the fact that it's a 3.7 GPA. And what's that, mechanical engineering? I struggle spelling mechanical at Morgan State.
First and 10 for Valley State, trailing 13-0. Brandon Dawson. It is curious that Willie Totten has decided to remain on the ground now. Apparently, this is what is being dictated to him by A&M's impressive defensive unit.
Well, he's got some big nasties that aren't your average size big nasties at this level. And now he might be thinking, okay, we tried to finesse them. Let's just try to line up and knock their blocks off and see if we can get something established on offense. Because to this point, you know, the satellite has misfired.
Pick up a 5, 2nd and 5 from the 40-yard line for Mississippi Valley State. Here comes the blitz. Dawson once again, but he is driven back by a very aggressive Alabama A&M defensive unit.
I tell you, man, they're coming from either side, and that time there were just too many guys in the box, and they shot the gap and just stifled the run play. I mean, they're out-quicking a bigger and more physical offensive front with speed and quickness.
Levernante Turner and Martell Holt on the tackle. This is the #1 defense in the conference, #1 scoring defense, #1 in sacks, #1 versus the pass, #1 in turnover margin. And it is doing its job so far this evening. 3rd and 5 from the 40. Weaver under pressure again, gets it away. It's very nearly intercepted by Henry Freeman.
Well, he wanted to go with the 3-step drop, but the blitz coming from the edges, and the pocket collapsed just enough to force him to release that pass early, and it's almost picked off that time by Henry Freeman. This is just an outstanding defensive effort. I mean, you can't laud Bronski Towns, the defensive coordinator, and his unit's effort enough to this point.
Courtney Young back to receive the punt of Russell Griffin. This one will back him up to his 18-yard line, and he takes off upfield, finds a seam, and is wrapped up by Nicholas Peoples.
Well, this is a situation right now where Mississippi Valley's defense has to step up and make a play, a big play.
13-0, A&M leading the people of Valley State. Second quarter, you see the rocket there, the Marshall Space Flight Center. Huntsville, known for its connection to the space industry. Matter of fact, one of the high schools in Huntsville named for Gus Grissom, one of the original astronauts.
Apollo 14?
He was celebrated in all the right stuff. Grissom High School located here. Space Camp is here also.
Is any relation to Marquise Grissom, the outstanding baseball player?
I think that's highly unlikely.
Oh, okay.
I think it's highly, but you never know, but I think it's highly unlikely.
Go back far enough. We're all related somewhere.
Alabama A&M takes the ball at the 30-yard line, starts on the ground, and Timothy Robinson is now in at quarterback for A&M. We told you at the top of the telecast this probably would happen. Anthony Jones uses a dual quarterback system, and number 7, who is more of a runner, is the man now in the game.
Well, now you're going to see them line up, and they're going to just try to get physical and run the football. Now you got a 2-touchdown lead. Your defense is controlling the contest. Right now, if what we're going to look at in terms of what Mississippi Valley does on offense and call it fast break, this will be effectively the full corner.
2nd and 10. Jeremiah Bonds doesn't go very far thanks to Cedric McDonald.
There's a name we haven't called a whole lot this evening, but he's definitely one to watch on the defensive side of the football for the Delta Devils. He came into this contest with 11.5 sacks. He came into this contest being the type of player that could stop and be aggressive against people behind the line of scrimmage with 3 tackles for loss on the season, and he's been rather quiet, deferring, of course, to Mr. Gator.
McDonald leading the conference in tackles coming in with 69. 13 tackles for loss, now 14 with that last one, which was a loss of 1. Robinson will keep it himself, does not get very far. McDonald and Creer there to stop him.
Well, that was just a good defensive series that time for Mississippi Valley. And as you can see, there's no surge at the point of attack, and Robinson just makes a good decision that time, not trying to pitch it out. Play safe, let your defense get back on the field, and give your offense, give them a chance to continue to shut down the Valley offense.
Valley State's defense does the job. Fred Aiken now waiting at his own 36-yard line for the punt from Rashad Kyler. Whistles and flags on the field.
Yeah, there's so many flags in this game.
Dead ball, false start, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Please finish that clever thought.
Mr. Lawson there is going to need relief in the 4th quarter. They're going to go to the bullpen.
Fred Aiken still awaiting the punt. Kyler backed up. Now punting from his 10-yard line. 13-0, A&M leading Mississippi Valley State. Boy, that field looks like a number of your divots on the golf course. Mark sailing away at the fairway. High snap. He gets it. Aiken being backed up. Will call for, he touched it. That's a live ball.
And A&M is going to get the ball back.
Lady Luck. Fortune, whatever you want to call it, it all worked in favor of Alabama A&M on that play. Aiken simply did not pay attention to what he was doing, calling for a fair catch. Rule 1, catch the ball.
Boy, just, out there playing center field and making a big error. And Coach Totten asking and questioning about it.
Our Office Depot Player of the Week. My partner's a Morgan State grad, folks, and I'm going to let him have the honors.
T.J. Stallings, the senior at Morgan, last week had 124 yards rushing, 45 yards receiving, a total of 187 yards as they wrecked North Carolina A&T's homecoming 30-13. Today, as the Bears wrecked Howard homecoming, he rushes for 202 yards, scores 5 touchdowns.
Robinson calling his own number, picking up yardage over the left side. He is tracked down by Isaiah Ross.
Not that I want to bring up the fact Morgan beat Howard in their homecoming game again, because I don't want to take any shots in Wendy Lawson, the fine Howard grad that she is. And of course our man Jay Walker, who went to Howard and was an outstanding football player at Howard. They could have used him today.
And Wandy and Jay, this is all Mark. I just want you to know that. 2nd and 4 for A&M. Pickup of 6 by Robinson. This time to pitch back, and it's Gideon.
Things are working real well for you, Dwayne, when they get good pressure against the option coming up the gut, and you're able to pitch out a dying quail and still pick up the 1st down.
Willie Gator on the tackle.
The pressure coming right up the middle. They apparently had Robinson in trouble, but he got the pitch off in a nick of time, and Gideon picks up the first down. Love that name, Willie Gator. We got some great names in this game.
Gideon now lined up in a slot, in motion, back into the backfield. First man through gets the ball, and it's Jonathan Rowland with that low center of gravity driving forward, taking Isaiah Ross with him.
But you see, they're going behind Woodard, number 78, number 76, Ronald Wilson on that right side on the offensive line. They are opening huge holes right now. Coach Jones used his passing attack to set up the run. You know, he passed. His team got up. Now he's pounding with the running game.
Alabama A&M threatening once again. First, second, and 6 from the 20-yard line. Robinson looking to keep it along the far sideline, where he's escorted out of bounds by 3, maybe 4 Delta Devils. Robinson, 6'3", 215-pound sophomore, came into this game with 120 yards rushing.
Yeah, but coming into this game, Coach said that he was beginning to start making passing plays in the passing game as well. Last year, he just had a nice balanced game at 81 yards passing. He had 82 yards rushing. He scored the winning touchdown with a little bit less than 4 minutes to go to give him the homecoming win. He's learning. He's growing.
In that game in that victory over Tennessee State, he replaced Keith in the second quarter and really was the difference and catalyst in him getting that victory. Robinson calling his own number again, and this time he gets very little as Cedric McDonald gets up leading the way. We're beginning to call his name now, finally. This man, folks, is the leading tackler in the conference. McDonald, 6'1", 205-pound senior from Sosa, Mississippi. He makes this defense go.
Well, listen to the sounds of the game, literally. And we've got our umpire mic'd this evening.
You see Robinson, you saw him a moment ago, number 7. We asked him prior to the game about that dual quarterback situation, and he told us basically that it really didn't bother him.
Really, they're actually pulling for each other, and what they do in practice is each quarterback gets equal amount of reps, so that when they come in, you know, it's really about mental. You know, are you mentally into the contest? And I think both, you know, Coach Jones has done an outstanding job of creating the climate where, yeah, we all want to compete, but after practice and when we go into battle, we're a family unit. And I think that's the critical component to their success.
You see them together. You just mentioned the words family unit. That's something that we got from the players and from Coach Jones about what this first year and this gelling has been about for this unit.
About bonding, instilling trust. You know, the players have to trust the coach.
Let's check in with Nwande Lawson.
All right, well, you know, you've heard of NFL players and some of the rituals they go through in getting ready for their games. We understand that at Mississippi Valley State, there's some rituals as well. It's practiced by number 77, Mario Branch. He sits each and every day before he actually goes into play and listens to the words of NFL players and coaches, as you see there on the screen. He had the chance to actually download these from the internet, and he told me that they were a gift from a fellow teammate. So that's how he gets pumped up for each and every one of his games.
Interesting story in Nwande as Robinson tries to run and gets little room to go as McDonald tracks him down. And Mario Branch is just such a talent. The young man in Nwande was just talking about, 6'7", 340 pounds. And he's so calm. He told us that those CDs just get him in the right frame of mind to get out on the field.
Kind of like you and Frank Sinatra records, huh?
Hey, Live at the Sands with Basie.
That's not.
You can't beat that.
Let's not go there.
Or give me some Nat King Cole and we're good. 1:26 to go in the second quarter. 13-0 in Nwande Lawson, Mark Gray, Dwayne Ballin with you from Huntsville, Alabama. The Bulldogs at home and so far having things very much their way. Mississippi Valley State with the ball. Out of the shotgun is Kerry Weaver. Time to throw. Has a man open but overthrows him. And actually the closest person to the ball was Henry Freeman, defensive back for Alabama A&M.
Freeman had done a nice job at breaking his pattern off that time, Dwayne, but I think that pass may have slipped out of Weaver's hands, which is why it was high. You know, he found that seam, but, you know, now the aggressive nature of the defense that we saw in the early stages of this half, where they were blitzing just about from every direction, they've now got 7 defensive backs and everybody dropping deep. They're not trying to give them anything long, so the underneath stuff will be there at least until they get about the 20-yard line.
Weaver looking to throw again. Great coverage downfield by A&M. Weaver has nowhere to go. Here comes the pressure, and he adroitly steps out of bounds.
He was smart to get out of bounds that time as well. That's using your head.
I want to remind you that you see the Alabama A&M marching maroon and white preparing. The MBC sound of the game coming up at halftime. You'll see them under the direction of Dr. Arthur Wesley, and also the Mississippi Valley State marching music machine under the direction of Kenneth Milton. That will be a treat you do not want to miss coming up at halftime here from Huntsville, Alabama. Kerry Weaver out of the shotgun. He and the Delta Devils trailing Alabama A&M 13-0. We're inside of 1:30 left to go in the half. Weaver with time to throw. Has a receiver underneath. Martell Holt is there defensively. And it's Christopher Gunn with the reception.
So it'll be interesting to see whether or not A&M calls a timeout here to see if they can give themselves an opportunity to score. Little half roll, and he's finally got himself a little bit of time outside the pocket, but again, it's a route that's broken off too short. I mean, 3rd and 15, you do your team no favors running an 8-yard route.
Coach Gray has spoken. 61 seconds left in the half.
2002.
They're not considering going for it here, are they? That would be a significant roll of the dice.
Well, Coach Totten has to do something to energize his team right now, because things simply are not going well. Who's the cat who won't cop out, Mark, when there's danger all about? The musical genius behind the box office hit Shaft turned 65 this year. NBC celebrates Isaac Hayes, the man and the music. It's a night of soulful melodies and a trip down memory lane that you do not want to miss. Watch Isaac Hayes' 65th birthday celebration Thursday on MBC Network.
That's who I patterned my hairstyle after.
The punt of Russell Griffin. Neil Lindsay is back to receive it. And Lindsay has some running room along the far sideline. Excellent blocking by his teammates. Lindsay still going.
Oh, man!
Touchdown, Neil Lindsay.
Boy, he got a block on the near sideline that cleaned somebody's clock, and he takes it to the house.
65-yard punt return. Some excellent blocking along the way.
Woo-wee! Boy, that was a tremendous block that sent him off to the races for the score.
Neil Lindsay, his first punt return for a touchdown. And that's not the guy typically you would see doing that. He's filling in for his buddy Nick Wells, who usually is the big play receiver. Willie Totten, things are really not going his way now.
Boy, I tell you, this is one of those situations where you may have to start thinking about scrubbing the satellites mission, because things are not working at all.
You're going to wear that out, aren't you?
What up, Mobile? Now you'll see after the ball is kicked, the wall creates a seam in the center of the field, and then coming up right here was a block that cleaned Willie Gator's clock, and Lindsay has enough speed and enough balance to tiptoe down the sidelines and give Alabama A&M a 19-point lead, and I guess they're discussing going for the 2-point conversion here.
Lindsay's not a guy that's known as a speed merchant either.
Well, when you're getting blocks like that, all you have to do is just outrun people, because he was almost untouched.
65 yards on the return by Lindsay, who's probably a bit winded at the moment. 43 seconds left to go in the half. Alabama A&M adding more, and now looking to go for 2 points. for Alabama A&M.
Once again, right behind the right side of that offensive line, in between Messrs. Woodard and Wilson. And Gideon takes it in for the score.
Gideon's crossing.
Yes.
I'm sorry, folks, about that. Sorry.
That was finally one that the crowd could at least grasp onto. I keep telling you, you need to bring it down a little bit.
Melvin Gideon and the Alabama A&M Bulldogs are now really beginning to assert themselves, and they're doing, Mark, really what they want to do right now.
They certainly are. You know, it was jump-started by their defense. The offense made one big play. They got a good, solid drive to score. Special teams makes a big play. And they're in control right now. They're just about in cruise control. You know, if you're Willie Totten, you may want to think about sitting on it and giving your team an opportunity to go into the house and just, you know, relax, release, and regroup. Because the defense is not giving up the 21 points, it should be noted. It's not like Alabama's A&M's offense has been marching up and down the field. Their offense, the Devils that is, has done absolutely nothing this evening.
Alabama A&M's Rashad Kyler set to kick it away. Sean Hill back to receive. And Donald Sweeney. A low kick, something of a surprise.
They had trouble fielding it.
That ball was bouncing around on the ground. Wait for the officials to see just who recovered it. It'll be Mississippi Valley State's ball with 21-0 is the score. And here comes Mario Branch and the offensive unit. Great blocking on this play.
Well, that's Willie Gary. Willie Gator right there. And I couldn't see that number because it came in there so fast. It may have been Jamerson Baker, a reserve defensive back, who just teed off on Mr. Gator.
Mississippi Valley State electing to hit the knees and just go in and regroup at the half. Delta Devils had hoped to come out here and force the tempo with passing, and this #1 ranked defense of the Bulldogs has simply said no to that. It
is an incredible sales job that Coach Totten will have to do, but he has to take pride in the fact that his defense has not been porous in this half. What's happening is he's got to find a way to tweak his offense, and I think it's going to take some three-step drops, work those little short passes underneath, something the Florida A&M receivers are traditionally good at, creating situations where receivers catch passes underneath and run after the catch.
Willie Satellite Totten and his Delta Devils walk off this field at Louis Cruz Stadium, and they trail at 21-0 here at the half. Anthony Jones's Bulldogs have done everything right so far. They have dominated on defense, not allowing the Mississippi State offense to get on track. And the secondary, which some had questioned going into this game, certainly has responded, not allowing Weaver to do what he wants to do through the air.
Sometimes the best secondary play, Dwayne, is a great pass rush. And the pass rush at Alabama A&M in this contest has been tremendous.
Alabama A&M has to be very happy as they head into the locker room. And Wande Lawson is down on the field with the leading coach.
Well, I'll tell you, Coach, going into this, of course, you are the favored team and certainly having scoreboard dominance at this point. What do you tell the team coming back into the next half?
Stay focused. They got an offense that we know they're going to throw the ball a lot the second half, and anytime you throw the ball, you got the potential of making big plays in a hurry. So we're going to have to stay focused, not be concerned about the score right now, and keep putting it to them, and hopefully it'll be enough.
All right, any surprises from the other side of the field in terms of what they brought on to you?
No, we expected them to run some tricks, and we were ready for them. And, we got away with one of our tricks and got a great return on it at the end of the half. So that put us up with a good lead, and now we just need to keep it, go back inside, make a few adjustments, and get ready to hit them some more.
All right, thanks a lot. Good luck in the next half. And, of course, we're going to send it back up to you, Dwayne.
Thank you, Nwande. Anthony Jones's Bulldogs doing what he wants him to do. He will probably simply reiterate a few things at halftime and say, let's continue doing what we're doing. They lead it 21-0 here at halftime at Louis Cruz Stadium in Huntsville. Back with halftime festivities after these messages. where Alabama A&M leads at 21-0 over Mississippi Valley State here in the SWAC East Division matchup at Louis Crews Stadium. And Alabama A&M has done everything it wanted to do in the first half. Anthony Jones was concerned about Mississippi Valley State setting the tempo. You heard him in his interview just now with Nwande Lawson. He's pleased, but he knows that there is much more to come. Right now, we're going to treat you to the Mississippi Valley State Marching Band under the leadership of Mr. Kenneth Milton. It's the Marching Music Machine. 21-0 at the half. We'll be back with more exciting band activity. 1-0 at the half. We continue with exciting band activity. Now, the marching maroon and white under the direction of Dr. Arthur Wesley of Alabama A&M.
pageantry in black college football, but you know, outside of the stadium, there is yet another bit of pageantry. Let's let you take a look at this. Great pageantry of black college football. Of course, we're going to have more of that and great football action as it will continue right here on NBC. Right after this, stay tuned.
I appreciate all the sportsmanship you guys are doing, okay?
What? Leading 21-0 as we begin the second half here at Lewis Cruz Stadium. And Wande Lawson, Mark Gray, Dwayne Ballin with you. Alabama A&M's Bulldogs coming into this one as the #1 defensive unit in the SWAC, and they have showed in the first half, Mark, just why they are the best defense. They really have given Kerry Weaver very little to operate with. Willie Totten cannot be happy.
Well, you see, he's got the headset on now, so he's in direct communication, so obviously he's going to take more control. I mean, when you look at a team that's averaging less than 2 yards per attempt on offense, and I mean, that's running, that's passing, that's everything. You know, you are being shut down totally.
Our Office Depot stats, Mark just alluded to the yardage, and you see it's not good at all for Mississippi Valley State, but that average yards per play is staggering.
And let's be real for a second. The total yardage disparity. I mean, it's not like Alabama A&M is dominant. 152 total yards in offense. I mean, they're not doing anything fancy. I mean, they're not just lining it up and blowing them off the line of scrimmage. I mean, it's just a situation where, you know, I think Valley just needs to tweak their offense just a little bit, get a big play early, get right back into this game.
Anthony Jones told us that he was a little leery of Mississippi Valley State coming into this one after the big win last week at homecoming. Mark alluded to it at the top of the telecast. And then next week, the Magic City Classic down in Birmingham against arch rival Alabama State. He was concerned about just how they would perform. And, well, over the first half, he need not worry.
He mentioned going into the break about his team keeping their focus. They had it for 30 minutes. If they can keep it for another 30 minutes, you know, I think he's done an outstanding job. You know, when kids of this age, they're having some newfound success. They could have easily rested on their laurels. They came out focused. There's an intensity about this team, and they seem to be growing, coming together even more so than just as a family, as a football team right now.
Raymond Russell set to kick it away for Mississippi Valley State. Nick Wells back deep for Alabama A&M. There has already been one special teams touchdown return, punt return by Lindsey. And the second half is underway from Huntsville. Mississippi Valley State starts off out of sync.
I think that was supposed to be a pooch kick that was just pooched a little bit too far.
Wells, Mr. Dangerous. 64-yard kickoff return last week in that win at homecoming to set up a touchdown.
Weber's kick, first and 10 on the 35-yard line.
Alabama A&M now will take the field, and Timothy Robinson will be the quarterback. Johnny Keith started off. Robinson came in, and Keith now will sit or stand and watch as Robinson takes control. They begin on the ground. Jeremiah Bonds.
And to show you how this evening is going for Mississippi Valley, even when they do a good job on defense, they're going to be assessed with a penalty. I think this may be a face mask or something. And they did a great job in pursuit, stringing that play all the way to the sideline. But I think it's going to be one of those 5-yard face mask penalties.
Last week's game, Robinson, nice numbers.
Face mask on the defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Let's check out the face mask. Good pursuit that time. And couldn't quite make out that number that time.
It appeared to be Chris Robinson who got his right hand in there and grabbed more helmet than he was supposed to. Whistles are being blown again. Officials are meeting at the point of the ball. We talked about Robinson, and last week when he came in that victory over Tennessee State, he replaced Keith in the second quarter, Mark. Hit 10 of 16 for 81 yards, finished with 82 yards passing, then had a couple of touchdowns running the ball. And as you mentioned earlier, the game winner late.
Yeah, he had 82 yards passing, 81 yards rushing. He had a nice balanced game. Coach Jones told us that they were giving up the short pass was Tennessee State. They were able to dink and dime their way down the field and ultimately to a victory.
1st and 5 for Alabama A&M. Opening moments of the second half at Louis Cruz Stadium on the campus of Alabama A&M University. Their Bulldogs lead it. Robinson looking to throw. And that one sails well out of bounds. Well, Cedric McDonald applying pressure.
You know, Coach Jones wants him to become a better passer, and I get the feeling if he gets a little bit better at the passing game, I'm speaking of Robinson, of course, he will end up getting more playing time because he is a better athlete. He's a little bit quicker getting outside the pocket. He appears to have better improvisational skills, but that time, there was no touch on that pass.
As always, numbers. Robinson is a fellow, according to Coach Jones, who can get it done with his legs, and his battery mate Keith gets it done with his arms. 2nd and 5. Lindsey in motion. Robinson, the pitch to Gideon, who runs quickly into Chris Robinson.
Well, the linebackers are doing a great job right now for Mississippi Valley, stringing those option plays out. They've made the adjustment. They've seen Robinson in the lineup. When you see number 7, that means you got to discipline yourself against the option quarterback. It's all about staying at home. You know, you got to stay in your lane and make sure that you're in the right place in containment at all times. Normally, when there are breakdowns in defensive containment, that leads to big plays on the options for the touchdown. And Mississippi Valley's defense, I mean, their team's down 21-0, but it's certainly not their fault this evening.
Pickup of 1 on the previous run. Robinson throwing again to Lindsey, who will have a hard time getting away from Chris Robinson, who he drug around a bit. And finally, Robinson's teammates closed on him. Willie Gator, one of those, bringing him down.
Willie Gator just has an engine that will not quit this evening.
5'9", 194-pound senior is Gator from Oxford, Mississippi. That will bring in the punter, Kyler. Fred Aiken will be back at his own 22-yard line to receive the punt. Mississippi Valley State still in this one. Early moments of the third quarter, but the Delta Devils have to get it going. Kyler barely gets it off a low line drive kick. That's a touch, a live ball. It could have been another disastrous moment for Mississippi Valley State.
And Wandy talked in the first half about the divots in the field. And you know how if there's a divot on the golf course, your ball moves funny? Well, this punt hit one of the divots in the field, took a tricky bounce. Valley's fortunate that they got the ball back in that situation.
What do you think he was writing down there? What precisely is he going to go to at this moment?
I hope for his sake it's 3-step drops, short passes, crossing routes. Let receivers make plays after the catch.
Well, Kerry Weaver and his offensive unit will get a chance to re-energize and get something going in the second half. Back after these minutes. Back in Huntsville, Alabama, Alabama A&M leading Mississippi Valley State 21-0, opening moments of the third quarter. Time for our trivia question, our MBC trivia question of the week. What player from Alabama A&M in the NFL Hall of Fame now is a member? Now, we'll give you that answer later. If you want to try and answer it, go to www.mbcnetwork.com and answer the question, and we'll let you know about it later. We will address that matter later. So, Mark, put on that proverbial thinking cap.
I'm thinking.
Kerry Weaver and the Delta Devils offensive unit trailing 21-0, looking to get something going. 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line.
Boy, look at that pressure ready to come.
And they keep it on the ground. Brandon Dawson, but he runs right into
a sea of maroon.
Yes, met by Travaris Nunn. And Travaris Nunn is an interesting story himself because he's the young man we referred to earlier, but listen to the contact. Nunn, number 40, who made the play as a converted fullback. We'll tell you more about him later in playing offense and defense and which one he prefers. Weaver on 2nd and 3. They keep it on the ground. Once again, it's Dawson, and he gets a couple of yards, but he pays a price for it.
Amazed that they came out, trying to line it up and go head up.
Jamal Ware, one of those, getting to him quickly as he hits the hole. Travaris Nunn, number 40. I mentioned that he was a fullback first, and he struggled last year when he tried to make the transition. And now he's one of the key proponents in this defensive unit. Ask him before the game, now which do you prefer, hitting or being hit? And he says, I kind of like hitting people. So he likes where he is now.
Zonka says it reflects a certain degree of intelligence to do the inflicting first. Larry Zonka, circa 1975.
You're dating yourself. 3rd and 2, ball at the 22-yard line. Weaver out of the shotgun, rolling. Just picks up the first down pretty close before Martell Holt escorts him out of bounds. Actually, that was very close. Let's see whether or not the officials give it the first down.
I was going to say, because it appeared from this angle it would take a very judicious spot for him to get the first down. And it is a 4th down, just a little short.
So Weaver and the Delta Devils offensive unit, there's noticeable change in that first series from what they were doing in the first half.
Well, I guess they tried to cross Alabama A&M up with the run game, figuring that down 3 scores they would be going for the air attack, but wasn't the case.
Russell Griffin punting away to Courtney Young, but this one will fall out of bounds at midfield. Nice field position for Alabama A&M to get going with just over 11 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
If we see Tim Robinson, I'll really appreciate that strategy, because now you go for the knockout. You got half a field, you got a running attack that seemingly is, getting on track, but we've got a major summit meeting going on down on the field right now.
The officials are discussing matters. As you saw, Alabama A&M sideline, this is a team that a number of people basically felt that the coach was operating with sleight of hand. This team really wasn't as good as its 4-2 record.
Well, they're showing something that the defense is certainly is.
Holding on the receiving team. We had personal foul on the receiving team. We had personal foul on the kicking team. Those 2 players will be ejected from the ball game.
Well, that is not good for either team.
Wow. Must be heinous to earn an early shower.
Anthony Jones is asking what happened right now.
I mean, we've seen guys stick around having done a lot worse.
There's Errol Reed of Alabama A&M. He doesn't look happy, and he appears as though his evening is done. So apparently he's one of the players that was ejected.
Yeah, but for what? Let's see if we can get in Wandy Lawson to find out what transpired down there.
Junior from Birmingham is Reed, a defensive back. One of the 2 players apparently ejected. As he leaves, his evening is done. Mississippi Valley State player also was ejected from the game. This has been an evening, Mark, where penalties have been a problem and fundamentals have gone out the door.
Yeah, but normally if you toss somebody, there has to be something, incredible that has taken place.
Coach Jones getting some clarification from the officiating crew.
Now, granted, there's been a lot of smack flying between the 2 teams this evening, but this begs for an explanation.
Saw Brandon Dawson sitting there in the background, the running back from Mississippi Valley State. His posture tells you so much about what this evening has been like for the Delta Devils. It's just been a frustrating one for them so far from the very beginning.
They have had absolutely no rhythm. Let's see if we can find out what transpired. This is Errol Reed. He had little fisticuffs. And he was going against Sean Hill. So Sean Hill and Errol Reed gone. And, I'm not quite sure Errol Reed really retaliated. He got thrown out and didn't take a shot.
If it is Sean Hill, Errol Reed goes out for Alabama A&M. He's a special teams player that hasn't played.
He's a reserve.
But Sean Hill is a key figure in this game for Mississippi Valley State.
I mean, that's one of your starting defensive backs.
He starts at the right corner.
At the corner, exactly.
And that's a big, big difference in what you lose between Alabama A&M and Mississippi Valley State.
I think he's a guy that has the responsibility of lining up normally when Wells is flanked out.
Hill came into the game with 1 interception, and if he's gone, and there he is, that is someone that Willie Totten's defensive unit will really miss. Junior from Cleveland, Mississippi. He, along with Errol Red of Alabama A&M, have been ejected, apparently for a fight, and he's being told now that he has to leave. He's going to chat with his coach before he leaves the game.
Son, you got to use your head. You got to do better than that.
This is a tough way to do it on national television to learn a lesson, but this is what he's doing. Back to action, 11:01 to go in the third quarter here in Huntsville. A&M leading Mississippi Valley State 21-0. Both teams less 1 player because of ejections.
Hey, defense! Defense!
Timothy Robinson in at quarterback for Alabama A&M. Ball at the 40-yard line. Pitch back to Barnes, who breaks up the sidelines and is finally pushed out of bounds after a big pickup by DeMarcus Hall.
Well, they finally got a seal to the inside. There's nothing fancy about what they're doing here. From the end zone, we'll take a look. Here comes your old option. And he gets around the corner, nice little jiggy move right there. Gets around the defensive back, Chris Robinson, and then he's off to the races down the sidelines for 40 yards and a big first down. And now Alabama A&M is really looking to go about the business of sealing the deal here.
1st and 10 now for the Bulldogs. Ball at the 20-yard line. That time, Mississippi Valley State's defensive unit was more than ready.
That's the first major breakdown that we've seen on the run side this afternoon, that previous play.
Christopher Smith on the tackle. Robinson waiting for the signal to come in from the sideline. Wells has been relatively quiet, number 8. He's a big play receiver, but we don't expect for him to be much of a factor when Robinson is in the game.
No, not at all. He's probably, his biggest responsibility in those situations is downfield blocking.
Loss of 1 on the play, 2nd and 11.
Speaking of the devil.
And there is Wells. He heard us talking.
No pun intended, of course. We were talking about the Bulldog, but Wells out there on a safe route. 3-yard turnaround, square in, and pick up about 7 yards.
O'Keefe Henderson on the tackle defensively. That ejection mark is going to really affect Mississippi Valley State.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Coach Jones right now go after who's ever lined up against the replacement, DeMarcus Hall.
Robinson calling his own number. 6 more for the Bulldogs.
Alabama A&M just has it all going right now. All the success that they're enjoying is set up by their attempt at establishing the passing game. Hold up, I think we got some holding, and this one is going to come back. It's a nice move by Robinson to turn it back up inside and hit the Jets and scoot into the end zone, but it comes off the board.
Well, one of the subplots of this evening have been the yellow flags and the frequency with which they've been thrown.
Holding on the offense, the 10 yards, spotted the foul, still 3rd down.
That's quite a swing.
Certainly. At least it keeps Mississippi Valley on life support, because a touchdown right there would have been a killer.
Timothy Robinson and the Bulldogs now facing 3rd and 8 at the 14-yard line. Willie Totten's Delta Devils in danger of really getting away in this, letting this one get away from them.
And slipping. They lost their composure and a key defensive back. Marcus Hall is
Timothy Robinson wants to talk about it. Something isn't clear to him, so he's going to come over to the sidelines and discuss it with Anthony Jones. This is not a time for mistakes. The Bulldogs lead it 21-0 here in Huntsville. Back with more from Louis Cruz Stadium after this. Alabama A&M leading Mississippi Valley State 21-0. MBC Network brings you more great family programming, more live black college sports, more movies, dramas, sitcoms, news, and information. Tell all of your family and friends to tune in to MBC, your family's urban network. Call your local cable operator for MBC Network. Contact your local cable operator and log in, MBCNetwork.com. Anthony Jones has to be pleased right now. Despite the posture you see, his team leads 21-0.
And really in control.
3rd and 8 from the 18-yard line. Robinson looking to the air, under pressure, releases it underneath. And Gideon is stopped quickly by Terrence Spencer.
And he just does a good job that time staying at home. He never bought the play-action fake. He stayed out there in coverage and containment. And as soon as the ball is out there in the flat, Spencer closes and brings him down. So, you know, the defense continues giving emotional lifts to Mississippi Valley that the offense can't seem to take advantage of.
So now a 34-yard attempt by Kyler, and he's a fellow who's really had some mental problems with field goals this year. In practice, he's nailed them, but in games,
this time he's golden.
Tonight, he comes through.
Well, they said it was a mental thing. He can go 8 for 11 on any given day in practice, and then when the bright lights go on, he struggles. Today,
41-yard field goal for Kyler.
That's impressive.
And that's a big boost for him.
That'll give him some emotion. See the guy to the right there? If we can go back to that shot, that was giving a high five. That's Cedric Calhoun, the defensive line coach for Alabama A&M.
41-yard field goal for Rashad Kyler. And friends, you do not know just how big of a moment emotionally and mentally that is for that young man. We talked to Coach Jones at length yesterday about it, and it's just been a serious mental block for him this year.
You're right. Kyler gives everybody a lift, but he got a pat on the top of his head from his defensive line coach. Cedric Calhoun is a good friend of ours.
Whose claim to fame is what you are dying to tell us.
Jay Walker was sacked by Cedric Calhoun at least twice in his first college game at Howard University in a driving rainstorm at Morehouse.
Sure, Jay, appreciate you sharing that with all of us. Kyler kicking off to Donald Sweeney.
Not a good day to be Jay.
And Casey Lindsey. Ball will go out of bounds. Mississippi Valley State will take it over at the 20-yard line. 3 more points for A&M, courtesy of 41-yard field goal by Rashad Kyler, 24-0. If you want to keep tabs on what's happening around the black college sports circuit, visit NBC Network's website, MBCNetwork.com. You'll see sports schedules, contest interviews, and much more. Also, learn more about our programming the entire family can watch. That's NBCNetwork.com. Alabama A&M band, much to play and cheer about. 9:06 to go in the 3rd quarter. Out of the shotgun is Weaver. No time to throw. Tries to run, and he's tripped up by DeAndre Washington.
Boy, these long pass routes just aren't working. It's almost like watching a replay of what we saw last week in the game that Charlie and Jay had when Jackson State couldn't get their long downfield passing game going, and they never adjusted to go short and let receivers go underneath.
Pick up of 3 on the play. It's now 2nd and 7. Weaver once again operating out of the shotgun. Ball at the 23-yard line. Boy, does Mississippi State Valley need something to happen. Under pressure, he steps up. There's a flag on the play. Reception by William Smith, but let's wait just a moment and hear from the officials.
I bet you there's going to be a block in the back, and I think they're going to get the right tackle, Michael Smith, with a block in the back. Okay, well, they call it holding. Could have gone either way. And it's just that kind of night. You can see the frustration. It's that kind of night, too.
Those yellow flags are almost part of of the uniform tonight.
Indeed.
Offense, 10 yards, previous spot, repeat second down.
They're becoming an accessory at least. So we see them so
now
much.
they're spreading the flags out. They're spreading the flags around better than the quarterbacks are having an opportunity to spread the ball around to their receivers.
Mississippi Valley State now faced with a 2nd and 17. From its own 13-yard line, trailing 24-0. Nearing the 8-minute mark in the third quarter here in Huntsville. Terry Weaver unable to really get going. Once again, he's tracked down and dropped. First man to get to him was Mathis. The man who recorded the sack was Fernandez Shaw.
And that left end position was a source of concern because A&M came into this contest banged up. But the pressure that they're getting, I mean, when you get pressure from Mathis and he forces you into the opposite direction, that means if you're on the left side, you're able to clean up on a whole lot of sacks. And look at Fernandez Shaw. Yeah, I got him. That's teamwork.
6'2", 220-pound junior from Spokane, Washington is Shaw. So now it's 3rd and 25, loss of 9 on the play. Out of the end zone, ball was bobbled, and this could be trouble. Although Manfred Thurman managed to get out of the end zone, that was not a picture-perfect play.
Easy for you to say.
Mississippi Valley State, not unlike my diction.
Boy. To say it's getting ugly for Mississippi Valley's offense is the understatement of the evening. It's supposed to be a direct shotgun snap. You know, their focus is off right now. And that may have something to do with the fact that they're a little demoralized.
Griffin's punting out of his own end zone. Courtney Young will let it fall. And Alabama A&M, once again, as has been the case for most of this first half and a good portion of this third quarter, they're going to have nice field position off of a punt.
And leading by 24, it opens up a whole world of questions for Coach Totten to have to answer.
Tough night for the Satellite. Back in a moment. Look at some of the major teams that were playing and some of the things that happened. Mathis and company really helping Alabama A&M here this evening with stellar defensive play.
And they're a team that could show up in top 10 next week after tonight's performance. How about Bethune-Cookman now 8-0?
Making a statement in Orangeburg.
On homecoming in Orangeburg, Alan Suber absolutely goes crazy. 322 total yards. He had 192 yards rushing and a touchdown on 25 carries. Grambling rolled this afternoon, beating up on Arkansas Pine Bluff. You had Alcorn losing to Sanford. Hampton winning the Battle of the Bay. Setting up an interesting matchup for Hampton, potentially against Bethune-Cookman, with the championship on the line.
1st and 10 for Alabama A&M. Great field position. Bonds out of the backfield, but he's caught and corralled quickly by Chris Robinson.
And you know, this defense has been on the field a whole lot. They got to start wearing down at some point.
Rest of the top 10 and what happened with them on a big Saturday in black college football.
Alabama A&M right now cruising up by 24 here. Fort Valley beat Benedict, pitching a shutout. Tuskegee came from behind to beat Morehouse. That was a great game, and the game that preceded us here this evening on NBC. Just a terrific game. Field goal late in the contest, hits the crossbar, goes through.
2nd down. Robinson's under pressure, and down he goes. Derek Lee.
Did I mention Morgan State beat Howard at their homecoming?
About 5 times, Mark. Those of you just joining us, Mark is a very proud Morgan State graduate this evening.
At least today I am, yes.
Willie Totten, boy, has he had problems this evening. Derek Lee applying the pressure and just closing quickly on Robinson.
No, it just didn't have any place to go that time. Quarterback with the better legs couldn't go anywhere.
3rd and 20, and Robinson, using his legs, gets into the secondary, where he's met by DeMarcus Hall, who is replacing Sean Hill, who was ejected in the game. You was interesting that Alabama A&M has this great field position. We mentioned that going to our last commercial break. 14 of their possessions tonight, Mark, have started. 7 of them have started inside Mississippi Valley State territory.
Well, you know, Coach Jones wanted to shrink the field with his special team, you know, for his offense. He wanted to lengthen it for the offense in Mississippi Valley. It's worked out to perfection.
13-yard run sets up 4th and 5. A&M going for it at the 33-yard line of Mississippi Valley State. Robinson's pass off the mark and low. Intended for Christopher Gunn.
Well, you get your defense back out on the field, and you just hope at this point, if you're Anthony Jones, they can continue to dominate like they have been. I like the aggressiveness of the call on 4th down. You know, I was talking to a lot of people who've been associated with this program, and I asked them what they think. What was the difference? They say, well, you know, it's a little bit early to tell how good Coach Jones is going to do here because he's cooking with somebody else's ingredients. I think he's got his own good recipe myself.
There's a new quarterback in for Mississippi Valley State, Jason Howard, and immediately a timeout is called so they can talk about things. So Willie Totten now going to Howard, looking for anything that will get them on track. The Delta Devils have some deep thinking to do. They trail at 24-0. Back in a moment. Question of the week earlier was, what Alabama A&M former player now resides in the NFL Hall of Fame? Mark?
I think he's with Nwande Lawson, isn't he?
John Stallworth is the answer, and Nwande indeed has more on the Hall of Famer.
That's right. I have here with our very special guest, going to be none other than, of course, NFL Hall of Famer, class of 2002. And, you know, the alumni here at Alabama A&M are going to laud him coming up next week, Friday, October 25th, as a matter of fact, in Birmingham, having a special scholarship fundraiser in the name of John Stallworth.
Stallworth, great player in the early 70s for Alabama A&M, went on to start him with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now a very successful businessman here in the Huntsville area. Madison researches his company, he does government work, and he's quite the story, very much connected and supportive of his university. And I'm sure he's watching this one tonight. The Delta Devils with Josh Howard coming up throwing. Nothing going for him. Howard comes into this game 3 of 8, 113 yards passing, 14-yard average. His longest pass, a 22-yarder, and 37.7 average. He's a junior from Mobile, Alabama, and Willie Totten must really feel that things are going wrong for him to make this move, Mark.
But obviously, I guess he's just looking for anything to jumpstart his offense right now. I just still think it would be shorter pass routes.
2nd and 10. Howard now operating out of the shotgun in place of Weaver. Intended for O.J. Moore. Defending on the play was Wesley Bynum and Derek Franklin.
Well, don't think we've seen anybody this evening that will challenge the legacy of Messrs. Rice or Stallworth at the receiver position today.
Rice, of course, a great receiver that played with Coach Willie Totten at Mississippi Valley State. The two remain very close. Howard on a rollout and just throws it and is lucky to find an open receiver. But there was also a flag on the play, so let's just hold everything and see what this means.
You don't say. Another flag.
It's just been one of those nights. Jamal Ware and the linebacking crew doing a great job for Alabama A&M.
Seems like we've had as many flags as Willie Totten had yards when he was passing at Mississippi Valley this evening. I mean, there's been a lot of flags. We've got to be up around the 13,000 mark right now. Well, we had tell me there were 12 guys on the field.
An ineligible receiver to catch the ball. That penalty will be declined. 4th down.
So Jason Howard comes in, and very little happens for the Delta Devils offensive unit. They are now forced to punt away. The penalties: Mississippi Valley State 5 for 37 yards, Alabama A&M 8 for 59 yards. And that's a category that will be addressed in Monday meetings.
And also the pass protection.
Courtney Young back to receive a punt, but this one will fall to the ground where it is downed by Mississippi Valley State at the 45-yard line. Alabama A&M once again starting off with pretty good field position.
How many times have you said that this evening? It seems, you know, at least this time they begin in A&M territory.
Anthony Young, you see talking to his troops. What a job he's done. Young, two-time SIAC Coach of the Year at Morehouse College when he was in Atlanta prior to coming here. Keep abreast of news, events, and the people who are making it happen. Every Monday on NBC, tune into Spiritual Impact at 8 and America's Black Forum at 8:30 p.m. here on NBC.
I saw Isaac Hayes on Spiritual Impact with Willie Gary not too long ago.
First and 10 from the 35-yard line. Keith back in at quarterback, and he's throwing, looking.
Oh, you knew the flag was going to come. You knew it.
Looking for Walter Sherrills. Defensively was DeMarcos Hall on the play. And remember, Hall is the young man who had to come in and replace
Sean Hill, yeah,
who was ejected.
Well, they got the one-on-one situation on the post pattern coming across the field. And I'm not sure it would have been a catchable ball.
Well, when it's not going right, it's not going right. And it is not going right.
Let's check it out right here.
Defensive pass interference. With 15 yards from previous spot. First down.
Now, it's a crossing route. Let's see if there's... Well, yeah, I guess he did have the hand on his back well before the ball got there.
Keith back into the game. Robinson playing a good part of the second quarter and the third. Going up top. And once again, Mark, there's a flag on the field.
Well, we see that DeMarcus Hall has mastered the art of the pass interference defensive play. I'm not quite sure that's one of those things when you get with your defensive backs, coach, you practice and you work on. But he has demonstrated that he's very effective at interfering with the receiver after he's getting beat. And this time, it's a good play because it saved 6 points.
It was a brotherly hug, I'm sure. Just
it was a hug,
one football
for sure,
player to another.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Willie Totten, this is going to be one that's going to be very hard to swallow because he really felt going in when we talked to him.
On the defense, on the eligible receiver, which would be 10 yards, and automatic first down.
He felt that they really had an opportunity to come in here and expose some inequities in the defensive unit of Alabama A&M.
Well, the MO coming into this contest was that Alabama A&M's defensive backs were the vulnerable part of the defense, and they have been up to the challenge. But again, when you're getting great pressure up front, it makes your defensive backs look a lot better.
First and 10 from the 30. It's on the ground for A&M, and Bonds breaks into the secondary for a first down. He's tackled by Chris Robinson.
Boy, just off tackle. You know, they've been running all evening seemingly for big yardage behind Woodard and Wilson. And again, those two at the point of attack open up a hole for Bonds to just work his way into the secondary, pick up another first down. But once again, see, look, 76, 78, open up the hole right in the center. And then Bonds uses his footwork and his strength to carry defenders, but it's all for naught. It's coming back. We've got another penalty on the field.
Another flag on the play. Appears to be holding against Alabama A&M.
Well, now we know how that hole was open so well.
First and 20 from the 40-yard line for the Bulldogs, who lead it 24-0. Keith looking to throw.
He's got a man.
Nearly intercepted by O'Keefe Henderson. Intended receiver was Darrell Weekly.
One of those layered pass routes where you've got receivers running basically in the same direction, in like 5 or 10 yard layers, and for a hot moment, coming right across the middle, Lindsey was open, but Keith couldn't find him, so he tried to go to the shorter route, and he underthrew his receiver, and Keith looks like
Keith is sitting down over on the Mississippi Valley State sideline. You saw Coach Totten just assisting him, Mississippi Valley State trainer assisting him now. One thing Alabama A&M has is a backup. We know, because it's a dual quarterback system.
So there is a significant drop-off in terms of continuity.
Notice how quickly Coach Jones made it across field to check on his freshman quarterback.
You know, that's the Willie Jeffries in him. You know, the carrying, open, fatherly side.
Right.
You know, we haven't had a chance to talk a great deal about the fact that he played for Willie Jeffries at Wichita State, coached with him at South Carolina State, and that served as his basis not only for growth in the football world, but growth as a man. And he speaks with such reverence of our good friend Coach Jeffries. And, you know, I think it's a mutual admiration thing with the two of them. Coach Jeffries has got to be extremely proud of the success that his protege is enjoying. And, you know, as Coach Jones said, he was blessed to have Jeff as a part of his life.
So Robinson comes in for Jones on second down. He's throwing, and it is intercepted. Prince Height picks up the interception for Mississippi Valley State, and that is the brightest moment to date for the Delta Devils in this ballgame.
Well, they had a fumble earlier in the game, and it could have been returned. I think Gator had a chance to pick it up and take it to the house for a touchdown, and he fell. And seemingly it has gone all downhill until Height's interception right there.
Mississippi Valley State will now take over, and it's on 34-yard line. Kerry Weaver is back in at quarterback after Jason Howard was in for a series. Weaver under pressure, and down he goes. Fernandez Shaw was the first one to get to him. Let's check in with Nwande Lawson.
Well, even as, of course, the A&M crowd is cheering here, the opening invocation actually called to mind that there was a sad occasion on campus this week in that Coach Joe Kent actually passed away on Wednesday. Not only a coach here at Alabama A&M, but also was a quarterback and free safety in the 1960s. During his coaching career here as quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, among other things, he was responsible for bringing John Stallworth to this campus. And so they're having a little bit of sadness mixed with bittersweet happiness this evening.
Thank you, Nwande. Our thoughts go out to the Alabama A&M community and Coach Kent's family. Mississippi Valley State, Weaver suddenly coming to life as he connects with William Smith for a first down.
Well, when you finally get some pass protection and you can sit back and survey the many receivers that you have in the pass routes, you can step up in the pocket and deliver a confident pass. And that's what Weaver did this time. Stepped in the pocket, delivered a strike, and a great catch by Smith.
Not quite enough for the first down. 3rd and 5 from the 39. Weaver under pressure and goes down once again. This time, DeAndre Washington doing the honors.
It has to be frustrating because whether it's coming from the left end or the right end or up the middle, I mean, the offensive line is going to get a stern tongue lashing from Coach Totten because everybody seemingly across the front has been whipped at least once or twice this evening. Was that about the 7th sack?
Alabama A&M's defensive unit, we've mentioned it a number of times this evening, but friends, you're watching the #1 ranked unit in the conference. Griffin punting away. And it will go harmlessly towards the 40 or 39-yard line, which is where Alabama A&M will take possession. 46 seconds to go in the third quarter here in Huntsville.
You know, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because there's still 15 minutes and 46 seconds of playing time in regulation. But the old adage in football, offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. You have a very talented offensive team right now that is on the verge of keeping its place at the bottom of the Eastern Division here in the SWAC. And you got the top-rated defense potentially going into their Magic City Classic undefeated to take on Alabama State with the SWAC title game berth on the line.
A&M keeping it on the ground. Melvin Gideon trying to power his way up the middle, gets into the secondary where he stopped.
And that's Spencer.
Like Terrence Spencer once again.
There are some nice parts, though, on the Mississippi Valley defensive side of the ball. But you got to give credit, as much credit as we gave the Bronski Towns and the defensive coordinators, the defensive brain trust of
incidental face mask on the defense, 5 yards from the end of the run.
You really got to give credit, DB, to the offensive line of Alabama A&M, because coming into this contest, there's an outstanding defensive player, Joe Creer, and I think we've called his name maybe one time. He's a guy came in with 15 tackles for loss and 7 sacks, and he's been a non-factor.
Inside of 20 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Fake by Keith, has a man open.
Lindsey.
Touchdown, Alabama A&M, Neil Lindsey from Johnny Keith.
Well, they got a one-on-one situation on the post route once again, and Lindsey took him to school, but it's coming back. We've got another penalty.
Well, fortune is sometimes too good of a thing. This one will come back. Nice play, though. Nice play fake.
Well, when you have success running the football and you run play action, it's going to get the defensive backs to bite. And that time they bit on the crossing route, left Lindsey out there in one-on-one coverage on DeMarcus Hall. And
on the offense, 10 yards, previous spot, still first down.
One thing, our friends watching certainly have gotten to know Lawson Turner, our referee this evening.
A star is born.
So it comes back. 1st and 20 at the 39-yard line of Alabama A&M. Johnny Keith looking for answers from the sideline. He and the Bulldogs lead it 24-0 here in Huntsville, Alabama. Melvin Gideon was caught by Willie Gator before he could really get ahead of steam.
Now, there's somebody that's been active all evening. You know, don't talk a lot about Willie Gator coming into this contest, but is he playing big or what?
Mississippi Valley State probably beginning to become a bit winded. This has been a long night for the Delta Devils. A&M leads it 24-0. Leading Mississippi Valley State as we commence the 4th quarter here in Huntsville, Alabama at Louis Cruz Stadium. It's the story of trials, the story of triumphs. It's a story of hardships and of glorious victories. It's the story of a people. Watch The Story of a People, Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. on MBC, your family's urban network. Martin Gray, Alabama A&M has the right game plan. Mississippi Valley State actually, frankly, seems lost this evening.
Well, they've had no answers for the defensive pressure. I mean, when you get bookends that are able to get great pressure, you know, the blitz package isn't working. I mean, it's totally disrupted the continuity of the Mississippi Valley offense. And then Alabama A&M's offense has been workmanlike and efficient.
There are whistles blown before the ball is snapped. This has been a game where penalties have played a major role. There have been 18 aggregate for 146 yards. It's just is not the kind of thing that makes a coach happy.
Timeout, Mississippi Valley.
At least that was not a penalty, Mark.
Okay. Well, they stopped before the flag could fall.
Mississippi Valley State came into this one 2-4, hopeful of proving that it could get its first SWAC win. Hasn't done that. Doesn't appear that it's going to happen this evening.
But, you know, Anthony Jones has had the opportunity of coaching both in the SWAC and the MEAC as we look at another SWAC score.
Stillman over Texas Southern, 35-28.
Bit of a shocker. I think that might qualify as an upset. Stillman Division II crew, Texas Southern to the SWAC. Stillman Division III, pardon me.
Go ahead, John.
Sanford over Alcorn State, 34-25.
Fred Sanford.
And Grambling rolling over Arkansas Pine Bluff, 54-15. And I will ignore that last remark by my partner. That was quite a reach.
Have some fun with it.
A&M operating from its own 39-yard line. Keith finds a receiver. Walter Sherrills with his first reception of the game. Defensively, O'Keefe Henderson there with him.
And they're still playing with a lot of heart, the Delta Devils defense. I've seen no quitting them. And only in a game like this where you have struggles and your offenses let you down, you can see signs of quit, but there's still a whole lot of fight left in this Valley defensive unit.
A&M now with 3rd and 14 from the 46. Keith looking deep, but it's not going to happen. And looking for Wells, and defensively DeMarcus Hall was there.
Well, this will qualify as free time, where you just go ahead and just take some free shots if you have an offense like Anthony Jones's is here in Huntsville. You want to experiment with some things, and you can experiment when you're 24 up. I'm not quite sure that in a perfect world, this particular crew of offensive players would warrant taking this many shots deep downfield, but you can afford to be aggressive.
Carlin punting away to Aiken. Aiken will not field this one. It will be down at the 14-yard line, which is where Mississippi Valley State will take over with just over 14 minutes to go in this game. The Delta Devils have quite a mountain to climb, and Anthony Jones' team is standing at the top of it. We'll be back. Tonight's game is brought to you by the Verizon Reads program. Alabama A&M leading at 24-0 on this beautiful evening in Huntsville, Alabama. Delta Devils have a lot of work to do. Let's check in with Nwande Lawson.
Well, I tell you, Mark, in the first quarter, you characterized it as a comedy of errors. Well, only one team has been able to capitalize so far on this particular comedy, and of course, that's Alabama A&M, able to go ahead and get that the flavor of the game for this particular evening. The flavor, of course, with them being able to capitalize on many of the mistakes being made by Mississippi Valley and come back from neither team able to really create a lot of momentum, but of course just one team being able to capitalize on those errors. And the scoreboard pretty much says it all.
And Nwande, you're right, she is, Mark, because really, although it's 24-0, it is not as though Alabama A&M has just been steamrolled.
They have not dominated this contest with the exception of the score.
Weaver completes a pass to Kendrick Wade.
But you have to give credit to their defense, though. Their defense has been stifling. That play notwithstanding, they have just basically clamped down on this high-powered attack.
It's almost as though Mississippi Valley State is shocked that it cannot get into its offense.
I'm sure. I mean, if you're Kerry Weaver and you're used to coming in and having your way, passing the ball around at will, and your offense has only 68 total yards, and this is what you've been looking at all day right here.
There's a fumble after the pressure, and he's fortunate that Alabama A&M didn't get that ball because that probably would have led to another 6.
But that's been a microcosm of the whole day. The pocket has been collapsing because of the pressure coming from the outside. And in this particular instance, you know, Weaver tries to step up. He avoids one guy there. But then look, on the inside, they get a great strip move that time from Gerald Harris. And, you know, it's almost another unfortunate turnover of the football for Valley.
Lucky that Donald Beatty fell on the ball so they could retain possession. 2nd and 16 now from the 23-yard line. Weaver out of the shotgun. As Wade made on the near sideline, but he didn't pick up a whole lot because the Alabama A&M defense did what it's been doing for most of the evening. It closed quickly. Jermaine Mobley leading the way.
They've got good team speed on the defensive side of the football. When you get pressure with your defensive line and your linebackers are as fast as A&M's linebackers are, it makes for a long evening for Willie Totten.
Willie Totten took this job in late December, and already he's made an impact. He's going to make a big difference there. He loves the university. It's his alma mater, and there is such a feeling that is now sweeping across Itabena, Mississippi about him, that they feel really good about it, despite what you're watching here this evening. Weaver going long and has a receiver.
But
William Smith on the reception.
Even when they complete a play, it's just short and it's under duress. You know, that's a big pass play that time. I think it's going to be just short. And at this point,
that picture says it all about this evening.
Yep.
For Mississippi Valley State. Frustration just hasn't gone well. New punter in the game now. Trey Butts is kicking for Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. Certainly with the Valley punting game this evening.
24-0 in the fourth quarter. We were talking about Willie Totten and what he's doing there. There is a sense that he's turning things around. Right now, it's not happening on the field. They trail 24-0. Rain beginning to fall in Huntsville. Time now to take a look at our Verizon long-distance play of the game, Mark, and what a dandy it was.
It certainly was. This is your proverbial flanker flicker. If the running back takes this pass from the quarterback, Keith, who gets it to Lindsey, who goes deep downfield, and he finds Tim Wells, who is well behind the secondary, takes it to the house, and that's your Verizon long-distance play of the game.
47 yards, and they're still dancing about it here at Lewis Cruz, and rain beginning to fall because you could argue metaphorically it began raining on Mississippi Valley State the minute they hit the field.
Way back in the first quarter.
Nice town is Huntsville. We've enjoyed our stay here.
Good for you.
Alabama A&M Bulldogs doing them proud this evening.
Setting it up again. Oh. You know, for a second there.
Travis Martin on the reception from Keith.
Hey, they had another reserve receiver, Darrell Weekly, cutting across the center of the field, and he had broken into the secondary, and for a hot moment it looked like they were going to try their little flanker flicker all over again. You know, it's a flea flicker when the running back takes the pitch and then he throws it down the field, so you got to get the flankers into it. You know, if they pass, they flicker too, right?
Okay, if you say so, partner.
Remember, it's better to flicker. You don't want to flame.
That's been basically what Mississippi Valley State has done offensively. 94 yards to 211 put up by Alabama A&M. Keith looking to throw. Going long. And, well, it's interesting. Weekly ended up tackling Chris Robinson. The ball apparently was intended for Weekly.
I'm shocked that there wasn't an offensive pass interference call. And I'm sure that's what's being asked right now. If I'm Chris Robinson, I'm like, hey, look, I got just as much right to the ball. He tackled me well before it got there. Where's the flag?
Actually, it does appear as though he's still arguing that point.
He is. Wouldn't you? It's like, come on. Give us a break here. We're getting rained on. We're down by 24. You know, our quarterback's taking a beating. Give me something.
Teammates been ejected?
Oh, really? It's certifiably all around rough night.
3rd and 8 from the 48-yard line for Johnny Keith and the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. He's out of the shotgun. Plenty of time to throw. Ball sails high. Weekly can't get to it defensively. I'm not sure he wanted to because DeMarcos Hall was right there ready to make his imprimatur on his midsection if he caught the ball.
Looked like he was ready to put a lick on him, too. A good stiff shot.
Hall walks off. Delta Devils have done their job defensively on that series.
I mean, you know, you got to give credit where credit is due. And, you know, they've bent. They really haven't broken. I mean, the situations that they gave up the scores in were a trick play and a turnover. A couple turnovers that really were decisive.
Fred Aiken, fair catch. Mississippi Valley State once again starting with unfavorable field position. Let's revisit our Verizon keys to winning, Mark, beginning with Mississippi Valley State, which is coming out on the field now. Top of the telecast, this is what you discussed.
We said that they had to make big plays. I'd have to say at this point, it's a big fat 0. Then we also said they had to start quickly. They get another 0 there, okay? And then they had to force 3rd and long situations. Well, really doesn't matter because you're down 24 points. So I think their grade would have to be a good old-fashioned F for the evening.
Professor Gray has spoken. Weaver out of the shotgun, has a receiver. William Smith with the reception. That's enough for a first down for Mississippi Valley State. Those have been few and far between.
Little quick slant in route. 5 yards, hard in, sits right there, high pass. And you see, with the defensive backs playing off now, there's going to have a lot of soft area to work underneath are the Devils.
That was the 5th first down of the evening for the Delta Devils. 9:42 left in the game. Mississippi Valley State hopeful of at least scoring. Weaver under pressure, eludes it, gets it off.
He forced that.
And it's intercepted. Travaris Nunn down the sidelines. And he stepped out of bounds. So everything is going right for the Bulldogs.
A converted running back who's now playing linebacker makes a pick, and within a millisecond, he turns right into a running back again. I'm telling you, hey, he forced that pass, and that was a bad decision that time, but when you're down 24-0 inside 10 minutes, you start forcing plays. Ample protection, he breaks one tackle there, and just forces this into seemingly quadruple coverage, and then the tip drill lands in the hands of Nunn. He has a convoy down the sideline, and a fortuitous push out of bounds by O.J. Moore. See, ample time. See, the ball fake, the pump that he was trying to use just bought him a little time to get away from Gerald Harris, but it led to the interception.
Alabama A&M then takes over after the turnover. Very little on the first play. Terrence Spencer saw to that defensively for Mississippi Valley State. Tim Robinson now in the game at quarterback. Remember, friends, if you're just joining us, we've told you that they have a 2-quarterback system at Alabama A&M. Robinson and Johnny Keith, turnovers. 3 for Mississippi Valley State, 2 for A&M. Second and 9 from the 12-yard line, and Alabama A&M's Tim Robinson calls a timeout. Something did not look right for him.
They went 4 wide receivers and single back. He's like, Coach, I'm the running quarterback. I'm used to running the option. What do I do when I throw?
Bulldogs looking for more when we return. 8:42 left to go here in Huntsville. Mark Gray, let's revisit our Verizon keys to winning for Alabama A&M.
Well, when we talked about A&M, we told them they had to stay focused. They couldn't look past this game the next week in the Magic City Classic. They get a big old A in that department. They've done a great job of containing Kerry Weaver. I don't even think he's over 100 yards passing. And, of course, the key was they were going to have to make some field goals. They made the only field goal attempt that they had, put everything into the mix. They get an A.
Here we go.
They are looking to add more. Professor Gray's class is now over. There will be a pop quiz later in the week. Robinson trying to throw under pressure. He had no chance of getting that off.
Not at all. For the first time, there was some significant pressure coming up the middle from Chris Smith. Smith with a nice little inside move, got to the quarterback, got him to the turf.
And if you're Coach Totten, you're wondering, where has that been all night?
It's been there. It's not the defense that is really getting run over and beat down in this contest. The defense in this game has not gotten any help from their offense at all. I mean, A&M only has 215 total yards.
Robinson calling his own number.
to get around Christopher Smith, who suddenly is developing a nose for the ball.
Well, Willie Gator's probably a little winded since he's been all over the field this evening, so Smith is now picking up those loose tackles.
That sets up a 4th down situation, 4th and 9 for the Bulldogs. Robinson waiting for the call from the sideline. They have 215 total offensive yards in this game so far. On 4th down, the Bulldogs going for it. From the 8-yard line. Robinson to the air. It is intercepted.
And he's gone.
O'Keefe Henderson. No one's going to catch him. Touchdown, Delta Devils.
Well, the defense has done it all this evening for Mississippi Valley. If the offense, the high-octane offense can't score, the defense has taken up the mantle, and they've taken it to the house.
A 100-yard interception and return by O'Keefe Henderson. Finally, the Delta Devils get on the board, courtesy their defensive unit.
It's a 3-step drop and a quick out and just a short pass. And then they create the wall to seal the entire pursuit to the inside, and you'll see nobody get to him. And look at that bear. It's jumping on his back at about the 10-yard line, but he has enough to carry the bear and the ball into the house. Something to smile about. Touchdown, 100-yard touchdown on national TV.
The point after is blocked. And it's as though Lady Luck can't shine, but so much on Mississippi Valley State. But if you noticed on that play when Henderson got it, once he got up the sideline, like a good running back, he shifted the ball away from the would-be tacklers.
Well, great pressure coming right up by Jamal Ware once again. Another one of those talented. This is an underthrown pass. You know, a little bit of confusion there. You got your running quarterback in. And he's trying to throw a quick out, and he's just a little short with the pass. And Henderson jumps the coverage, steps right inside the intended receiver, and he scoops into the end zone for the score.
Senior from Canton, Mississippi, or junior, 172 pounds. They needed more of that early. Mississippi Valley State.
Well, that, my friends, is a historic interception. The longest, if it stands at 100 yards in the history of Mississippi Valley. The longest coming into that was a 98-yard interception by Hubert Owens in 1981. So if it stands at 100 yards, we have just seen history.
Courtney Young and Nicholas Wells back to receive the kickoff. Raymond Russell about to start off before the officials stop him.
Dead ball, penalty flags on the field.
And guess what, Mark?
No, not another flag.
Yes, it is.
No. How do you have a flag before the ball's kicked?
24-6. Alabama A&M took the lead early, never relinquished it. Its defense has been absolutely dominant, not allowing Mississippi Valley State's high-octane offense to get on track. You just witnessed the only way the Delta Devils were able to score, courtesy of O'Keefe Henderson's interception and touchdown. That kickoff, that interception and return officially, Mark, has been logged as 99 yards, so it is a new school record. That may be little solace right now for Mr. Henderson, considering the score and where they stand on it.
Yeah, but he'll be able to smile about that one, and I'm sure somebody back at the ranch was videotaping the game.
Wells fields a kickoff, and he's up the sideline and gets running room down near to the 50-yard line before Raymond Russell, who was the kicker, stopped him. So Alabama A&M will take possession once again, and has been the case for most of this game. The Bulldogs, favorable field position to begin work.
They have won the battle of field position, and you know, that was just a big concern for Coach Jones and his brain trust. You know, making the field longer for Mississippi Valley and making it shorter for his offense. And, you know, he doesn't have his the skill level of his offensive players isn't there just yet. But they were able to play ball control with this good field position all game.
Melvin Gideon is wrapped up quickly by Damian Collins.
Yeah, I venture to say you're not going to see too many more passes in the air from Mr. Robinson. Ball's a little wet right now, which may have contributed to the short pass, an underthrown pass that allowed O'Keefe Henderson to jump that coverage and take it to the house a possession ago. But see, that's what I was talking about earlier. That's why you don't quit. Keep fighting. Defense kept fighting. If he had quit, you know, he batted down to flex it. Spirited effort by the defensive unit from Mississippi Valley. Tough loss, but they should be proud.
Robinson keeps it. Picks up yardage out over the 40-yard line where Willie Gator stops him.
Now, see, that was a heads-up move that time by the quarterback Robinson, who thought ever so slightly, and you could see it in his eyes, that he wanted to make the pitch at the very end. But at this point, the clock is your biggest ally. Turn it upfield, hold on possession, and keep the Devils down. Because he did give him life with that underthrown pass a few moments ago.
Robinson with 13 yards rushing in the game. 1st and 10 from the 39. It's Gideon, who is met by Cedric McDonald and teammates after a pickup of a few.
And they're still out there fighting, scratching, clawing.
Mark Gray and Wande Lawson, Dwayne Ballin with you from Huntsville, Alabama, where Alabama A&M is hosting Mississippi Valley State. The third of a triple header here on MBC this evening. Another great day in black college football on MBC. 5:45 to go in this one. Tim Robinson now in at quarterback for Alabama A&M. He and Johnny Keith have shared duties throughout the evening. On 2nd and 8, Robinson looking to the air. And Wells had to come back to try and get it.
I got to believe the ball is slipping out of his hands right now.
Rain beginning to fall, has been trickling down now for the better part of a half hour here at Louis Cruz Stadium. Very nice facility here, by the way, Mark. Very nice.
The house that Gene Bright built when he was the athletic director here back in 1994. He left to take the reins at Morris Brown, and it's good to see old Mr. Bright coming through here in Huntsville, Alabama.
Stadium holds 21,000, built with a price tag of just over $10 million. In 1996, dedicated to the memory and honor of Louis Cruz, who coached in the 60s and 70s. Coach John Stallworth here at A&M. Out of the backfield, Antonio Wallace. Joseph Carter makes the tackle, along with Creer.
This is really an outstanding facility, though. You know, Alabama A&M, one of those teams that made the move up from Division II. They were an SIAC power, stepped up to Division I. People in the SIAC at the time thought they were crazy. They'd be coming back. They weren't ready for a move like that. And they are showing that they just might be, if not a victory or two away this season, certainly a recruiting class or two away from being a force in the Southwestern Athletic Conference for many years to come.
High snap, and Kyler still manages to handle it and get it off. A nice punt, too. That will come to rest at about the 3-yard line. What an effort by Kyler, considering the snap. Nice work, young man. The Bulldogs lead it 24-6 here in Huntsville.
He's a smart guy.
6. Let's go downstairs to Wande Lawson.
Well, I tell you, you know, of course, that the A&M and Alabama A&M stands for agricultural and mechanical. But, of course, as we look around, few of the vestiges of that farming curriculum, but within a stone's throw of the Louis Cruz Stadium, you see one, the agricultural department, of course, operating a farm that's available to the public. The community actually comes down and picks vegetables at that field. As we send it back up to you guys, those vegetables look pretty good, don't they?
Very nice.
Yes.
And one day they do indeed. It would be nice for a big salad right about now, as a matter of fact, Mark.
Do you eat anything other than salad?
We could pick some vegetables on the way out, right around the corner.
We had a big salad yesterday.
Mississippi Valley takes over, trailing 24-6, 4:32 to go from the 2-yard line. They elect to keep it on the ground. Manfred Thurman in now, running for the Delta Devils, who probably realize that it is simply not going to happen this evening. But we were talking about Willie Totten and the difference he's made since coming over. You know, people feel that he's doing the job. He wants to fundraise. He wants to get more people involved in the program. His good friend and former teammate Jerry Rice has been extremely supportive of everything he's done.
See those spanking new uniforms, fashionably attired? One Jerry Rice has been active in getting a major shoe company involved with the Mississippi Valley program. And it was interesting to note he told us that Jerry told him, he said, you know, if you ever get a head coaching job, I'll take care of you. And sure enough,
he certainly has delivered.
He reached right back.
He's good.
And we would be remiss if we didn't also mention the significant financial contribution of Ashley Ambrose, the fine NFL cornerback presently, who is assisted in the building of a lounge at the Rice-Totten Stadium, or as part of the athletic complex there. So you got to crawl before you walk. This will be a difficult pill for the folks at Valley to swallow, but you definitely get the sense that there are brighter days.
The Ambrose Room, what you just referred to in Itabena. Delta Devils keeping it on the ground.
That's just, let's work with that for a second. The Ambrose Room. Doesn't that bring the visions of like jazz music?
Coach Totten and Jerry Rice, fraternity brothers, very close. Matter of fact, when he wanted the job, Rice was on the telephone making calls on his behalf, making sure that he was the #1 pick and would receive serious consideration. Second down. Weaver looking to throw. Looking upfield. And for a moment, Smith had it. But Thad Cribbs was there defensively.
Yeah, he didn't hold it long enough. He just didn't hold. We can focus in on a fun game that you and I'll have next week down in Albany, Georgia. Clark Atlanta and Albany State.
It's going to be homecoming.
Nothing like homecoming.
For Albany State.
It's the only homecoming we get this year. Maybe they found out how you were acting last year and decided no homecomings for them.
3rd and 2 for Mississippi Valley State. Weaver again looking to throw. Looking for Smith once again. I'd like to thank the media relations directors from the respective school, Marlon Reed and Steve Underwood, Mississippi Valley State and Alabama A&M respectively. They've helped us this week tremendously. This game produced by Lou Rainone, directed by Kurt Simmons, statistician Eric Moore, our stage manager Cheryl Meadows, our spotter DeAndre Smith, technical director Paul Willis, operations manager Luke Williams. All these fine people helping us bring you this game. Weaver stepping up, and it's going to run out of bounds.
And we would be remiss if we didn't send special love out to Reggie Benson, the longtime beat writer of Alabama A&M and Alabama State here in Huntsville, who knows as much about the program as anybody who's been here for a long period of time. So we really appreciate the assistance and the perspective that he gave, not only in the stuff that we were able to check out online, but, you know, something about having an intimate knowledge.
Gave us a wonderful insight on these teams. Anthony Jones is doing a wonderful job at A&M in his first year. Weaver looking long, and he nearly completes it to an Alabama A&M defensive back. It's been that kind of night for the Delta Devils. Alabama A&M walking the walk this evening. They felt they could come in and prove that that 4-2 record was for real. They apparently are going to move to 5-2, 3-0 in the conference. as they now look towards next week's huge game with arch rival Alabama State in the Magic City Classic.
You could make the argument that this week was defining week number 1 in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Next week is the defining week in the SWAC.
3rd and 6. Weaver has a receiver. It's Wade, who is hit quickly by Baker.
That's a medicine ball right there.
Our Office Depot most valuable players of the game. From Mississippi Valley State, O'Keefe Henderson. You saw him on that spectacular interception return for a touchdown. And Alabama A&M, the man that is all over the field defensively, has led this great defensive unit, Robert Harris.
Yeah, Robert Mathis doesn't get the, his stats don't tell the story. He set the tempo for the team early in the game by disrupting the flow of Weaver. And, he just set the tone for the rest of the evening with his player in the early stages of the game.
Weaver finds William Smith for a big first down along the far sideline.
Young fella, it's not an evening to be demonstrative. Get back, line up. You're still down by 18. Another out pattern once again. He runs in and then breaks it out to the sidelines. Does a nice job of tight roping in it to haul it in.
But it's all happened at the wrong portion of the game for Mississippi Valley State. Weaver looking for Wade, and it was nearly intercepted by Baker.
Now, Dwayne, earlier I was talking about how it was a defining weekend in the MEAC. You had Bethune-Cookman firmly establishing themselves as the premier team in the conference with a victory over South Carolina State. You had A&T all but eliminated in their loss to FAM. Next week, you've got the Magic City Classic between State and A&M, and then you've got Grambling at home to Jackson State.
Under pressure, Weaver trying to stay on his feet, looking downfield, but will have to go down. There was no coverage that he could break offensively. Alabama A&M just doing the job, chasing him down. Travaris Nunn and Lionel Macklin.
Nunn also has an interception this evening as well for A&M, but you look on either side of the SWAC, the Eastern Division, you make the argument that the winner of this Alabama State, Alabama A&M game is probably going to win the SWAC East and earn another trip to Birmingham for their championship game in December. And on the east side,
our NBC drive of the game, Mark. Melvin Gideon. This was the play that set it up. Alabama A&M doing everything right offensively when it had the opportunity. And there's Johnny Keith.
Little soft touch pass.
Touchdown to Jake Gibson, the tight end, who last year, as we mentioned, was a quarterback in this game. And he got into the scoring column. Alabama A&M, everything working right.
But next week, you've got the Eastern Division matchup in Birmingham, which could go a long way to determining that division. In my opinion, the winner of the State A&M game is probably going to cruise into Birmingham in December with a shot at the SWAC championship. On the west side, our second half of the doubleheader, Charlie and Jay and a cast of thousands will be at Grambling for their matchup against Jackson State. Jackson already has a loss in the division. They can't afford another loss. Grambling is perfect. Grambling wins that game. I think the only pothole potentially to their run to the Birmingham for the championship game would probably be Southern in the Bayou Classic on the emotional basis alone.
Weaver on 3rd and 2, rolling out and being chased. Knocked out of bounds by Lionel Macklin.
Just a straight old-fashioned quarterback boot.
MBC Network is the place for cool jazz. Red Hot and Cool Jazz with the sensational Nancy Wilson. Watch a classic edition of Red Hot and Cool Thursdays at 8 p.m. on NBC, your family's urban network for jazz.
And wouldn't it be cool to have it in the Ambrose room?
You really like that, don't you?
Nancy Wilson, tonight live at the Ambrose room in lovely Ida Bena, Mississippi.
Had the opportunity to see her perform a couple of years ago. What a tremendous talent.
Is she?
A living legend. Minute 4 to go in the game. Alabama A&M in solid control. Mississippi Valley State just looking for a few more points. Kendrick Wade and Weaver are not on the same page.
There's been a lot of that going on this evening.
Next week, Mississippi Valley State will venture down to Texas to face Texas Southern. This loss will drop them to 2-5 overall, 0-3 in the conference. They will remain in last place in the East.
Well, something's got to give. Because I think Texas Southern is that way in the West, aren't they?
Out of the shotgun is Weaver. Alley-oop, touchdown. William Smith.
Well, we have a flag down. I'm not going to make the call.
The look on Smith's face tells you everything. Well, that's against the defense. The touchdown stands. So Mississippi Valley State gets 6 more points.
Well, Yogi Berra said it's not over till it's over.
We're inside, a minute to go here in Huntsville. Butts on for the extra point. Mississippi Valley State doing its scoring in the fourth quarter.
Yes, they did. Defense continued to fight, gave them a lift. There's one silver lining in this cloudy day for Mississippi Valley. It's the fact that they haven't quit.
There are whistles and flags on the play. That is apt for the evening, considering the way things started and how many flags we've seen. Once again, our co-anchor, Lawson Turner.
Dead ball, full start, offense, 5 yards.
Fourth member of our announced team tonight, Lawson Turner. Thank you for that. Been a lot of yellow flags.
You know, that guy's pretty good.
Extra point coming for Mississippi Valley State. And the Delta Devils get it. 24-13. Back Alabama A&M on its way to its 5th victory of the season. Mississippi Valley State getting the scoring late mark when really it's over, but they still get it.
They kept fighting, and there you can see this is a beautiful touch pass, lays it out there. That's your old alley-oop. You hit the nail right on the head.
R.C. Owens to and Bob Waterfield, right?
It was Waterfield to Owens, wasn't it?
Yeah, Waterfield to Owens, San Francisco, the old alley-oop. We're showing our age.
No, wasn't Tittle back in the day? He didn't, I'm not that old.
I know R.C. Owens was on the
he
receiving of it. He was the one that jumped.
And it was before Norm Snead. And
so when you say you're not that old, what's the inference to me? That I am?
I'm sorry. I know you're sensitive about this thing.
Mississippi Valley State scoring. A&M 24, Mississippi Valley State 13. 51 seconds to go here at Louis Cruz Stadium.
Well. How about this? The onside kick
works in favor of Mississippi Valley State.
We don't know that yet.
We'll wait for the officials to make the call.
We don't know what happened.
At offsides on the kicking team, illegal touching on the kicking team. We'll put the ball in play, 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line.
Was that the double bonus?
Well, Mississippi Valley State's onside kick attempt did not work, so Alabama A&M will take it over. 51 seconds left. Willie Totten will have to go back to Itabena, regroup, refocus, prepare for Texas Southern. But he has a plan for his Delta Devils. And they're already much better than they were a year ago. I mentioned they were 1-5 at this juncture in the season. Already have won twice.
Happy young fellas. Alabama A&M will enjoy this and get ready for the big party next week
It is a small shock to a number of people that Alabama A&M is in first place in the East.
Folks, all of America is now finding out. What the folks in Atlanta found out over the last couple of years, and the folks who have been close to the black college football world have known for about the last 10 or 12 years. Anthony Jones can coach.
Heck of a coach.
All right, and you know, don't have to put any kind of fanciness to it. He can coach. He's a great football mind, especially on the offensive side of the ball. The thing I like most of all, he's come in, assumed the reins of the offense, let Bronski Towns coach the defense. Defense is playing swell. And remember, you win championships on the defensive side of the ball. All you got to do is just manage the game offensively, not give the opposition chances. And he has a recipe for success that is rolling right now.
Anthony Jones walks off the field victorious for the 5th consecutive time this year. 24-13 final as Willie Totten's Delta Devils go down to Jones's Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Coming up next, The Lounge. Enjoy the best mix of music videos from R&B, jazz, rock, and inspiration here next on MBC. Coming up next weekend, join us next Saturday for another day of gridiron action. Starting at 1:30, catch Albany State and Clark for Albany's homecoming live from Albany, Georgia. Then at 7:30, Grambling taking on Jackson State from Eddie Robinson Stadium. For Nwande Lawson, Mark Gray, I'm Dwayne Ballin. Good night from Huntsville, Alabama.
Who's the cat?